Chapter 11:21 The Task of the Emperor's Palace. A mysterious seventh heavenly Tao ancestor stole the forbidden treasure. Yi Tian learned this news from the 9 Extremes Army Corps, and was also very surprised. There were many Taoist ancestors who died this time, among them the 7th-level Taoist ancestors. In the end, a 7th-level Taoist ancestor snatched the body of another Taoist ancestor and finally escaped. But in fact, the battle was too chaotic. This Taoist ancestor grabbed the forbidden treasure, and was soon killed, and others robbed it. If there is a forbidden treasure hidden among the Taoist ancestors, it is not certain that the forbidden treasure is not in the hands of that mysterious Taoist. Of course, under the eyes of so many Taoist ancestors, it is more difficult to hide the forbidden treasure, so there is a high probability that the forbidden treasure is on the mysterious Taoist. No one knows the identity of the mysterious Taoist ancestor. The other party took action too quickly, and the breath is very unfamiliar. Perhaps he used some kind of secret technique to change the breath, causing no one to recognize the other Taoist ancestors. So far, no one has guessed the identity of the Taoist ancestor. However, this time the major forces have suffered heavy losses. After all, the true ancestors have fallen a lot, and they have lost some Taoist ancestors. Because the surviving Taoist ancestors did not snatch the forbidden treasure, they dragged their severely injured body and continued to sleep, and their foundations were damaged, can be said to be a big loss. Although Yi Tian was a little moved by the forbidden treasure, Ouyang Zhuor said that the forbidden treasure was rather tasteless, and his thoughts were greatly reduced. Forget it. 29, let's identify these forbidden strange objects first. Yi Tian muttered. This time, he obtained a total of 67 forbidden strange objects. Such a number is already very terrifying. He has no idea of trading it to Blackwind Mountain. After all, he has reached the pinnacle of the invincible true ancestor, and the other treasures of Haifeng Mountain are useless to him, so he has nothing to exchange for. And taboo strange objects are very precious at present, and everyone lacks them, so naturally he will not be stupid to exchange them. Yi Tian identified the forbidden strange objects one by one, and gradually came to know the usefulness of these forbidden strange objects. He found that most of the forbidden wonders here are auxiliary cultivation, similar to the effect of magic medicine, which can temper the forbidden body. There are also forbidden strange objects that can be used as materials to create forbidden weapons. Forbidden strange objects are very precious. The lowest level forbidden weapons are stronger than ordinary Dao weapons, and the top level forbidden weapons can easily shatter Dao weapons. But not everyone can use taboo weapons. If you don't master the dark taboo power, once you use taboo weapons, you will completely kill the enemy with 1,000 words and lose 800, and even before attacking the enemy, you will be injured by the forbidden weapons. More importantly, to create a taboo weapon, just one taboo strange object is not enough. You need a variety of taboo strange objects, and you must be able to match them, otherwise it will be a waste of taboo strange objects. There are also forbidden wonders that can act as disposable weapons, defensive weapons, and trapping effects. Hey, this forbidden strange object is not bad, it can actually lead people to escape. Yi Tian stared at a forbidden strange object in the shape of a leaf, and said in surprise. He named this forbidden strange object called the Forbidden Void Leaf, because this forbidden strange object can mobilize the rules of the forbidden space and escape in an instant, and its escape effect is very powerful. If the enemy possesses such a taboo strange object, Yi Tian feels that he can't kill the opponent, nor can he catch up with the opponent. In addition to the Forbidden Void Leaf, Yi Tian also cares about a forbidden strange object. This forbidden strange object is the only high-level forbidden strange object. It can open up a cultivation space, and it contains a mild dark forbidden power, which is very weak. Even if someone who does not master the power of the dark taboo enters the practice, they can quickly increase the speed of cultivation, similar to the effect of the Juyu taboo cool. So, Yi Tian used this taboo strange object to open up a taboo space in the human race. The reason why he didn't open the taboo space in the Juju space is because the Juju space is in the small realm of the Wind King and is completely under the control of the Wind King. Therefore, it is impossible for him to place the taboo space in the small realm of the Wind King. Although he didn't think that the Wind King would covet the small taboo space, the heart of guarding against others was indispensable. Moreover, in the human race to open up a taboo space, one's own family members and some geniuses of the human race can also enter the cultivation, which is more convenient. The only drawback of the taboo space is that it needs to incorporate some forbidden strange objects to assist cultivation from time to time, otherwise the taboo space is an ordinary space. As long as there are enough forbidden strange objects, the use of the forbidden space is even greater than that of the Juyu forbidden pool. And Yi Tian now has enough forbidden strange objects on his body, enough to support the long years, so he doesn't have to worry about the supply of forbidden strange objects. He is very satisfied with the harvest this time. Although he did not get the forbidden treasure and top-level forbidden strange objects, the sum of so many forbidden strange objects exceeds the value of one top-level forbidden strange object. Moreover, his forbidden body has also been tempered to the realm of small achievement, which made his strength increase a little bit again. It's a pity that he still hasn't broken the shackles, but he has already felt that the bottleneck shackles in the dark have been broken by him. As long as one of my middle thousand Dao techniques reaches the perfect state, I will definitely be able to break the shackles and become the supreme true ancestor. Yi Tian murmured. In the following days, Yi Tian began to practice asceticism, trying his best to comprehend the Dawang Dharma body, one of the thousands of ways. The other side, Tiandi Palace. Palace Master Junwu is negotiating with several 9 heavenly emperors. Who arranged this plan? Junwu Palace Master asked. It's me. Emperor Guangling stood up and said. The Lord of Junwu Palace stared at Emperor Guangling and said, Emperor Guangling, this time you sent someone to destroy the Tianling Palace, and you also took 3 forbidden treasures from the ancient Forbidden Well, and they were all very valuable forbidden treasures. You did a good job at one point. However, you did not cause the fighting of the powerful Dao ancestors of the major forces, and only lost some of the 6th and 7th heavenly Dao ancestors, which cannot shake their foundation at all. Emperor Guangling quickly explained. Palace Master Junwu, those supreme Taoist ancestors don't appear at all, so I can't do anything about it. If you hadn't made the decision without authorization, and only left an ordinary low-level taboo treasure, and it was a one-time defensive taboo treasure, how could it not be able to attract the most powerful Taoist ancestors? Really powerful forbidden treasures must have special effects. It is easy to judge that once such a forbidden treasure appears, Zhou Zhongtian Daozu will be moved. Junwu Palace Master said. But in that case, will the price be too great? Emperor Guangling was a little reluctant. Stupid. Junwu Palace Master scolded. What if it is a medium taboo treasure? Does our heavenly emperor palace lack it? If it is possible to use a medium taboo treasure pit to kill a top 8 level heavenly Dao ancestor, it will be worth it. Once dead, having an 8th heavenly Dao ancestor is not just as simple as losing a supreme Dao ancestor, but the immortality of 2 8th heavenly powers and even 9 heavenly powers. How High Sea Ancestor asks us to provoke major forces to confront each other, and we must go all out. Nowadays, treasures like the forbidden ancient wells will appear one by one. I hope this will not happen next time. At this time, another emperor asked, Palace Master Junwu, when was our heavenly emperor palace born? Now all kinds of forbidden treasures appear. If we do not come out, we will lose a lot of forbidden treasures and opportunities. Other forces will use these forbidden treasures and opportunities continue to rise and grow, and in that case, it is not a good thing for our heavenly emperor palace. This is not something you are worried about. Your task is to provoke the major forces to fight. As long as there are enough Daozu who have fallen, it will be fine. You don't need to worry about other things. The Palace Master Junwu ordered. Yes, the emperors responded. The Palace Master Junwu left, and the other emperors also left one by one, but Emperor Guangling fell into contemplation. In fact, he didn't know the real core of the mission of the Heavenly Emperor Palace. He only knew that his mission was to provoke the major forces to fight when the signs of the birth of the taboo world began, causing them to lose a large number of Taoist ancestors. In short, the more chaotic the ancient world of Xuanxu, the more dead Taoist ancestors and true ancestors, the better, but the Heavenly Emperor Palace cannot fight them head-on. This time, destroying the Heavenly Spirit Palace is also a limit, and it is not allowed to destroy other forces. It stands to reason that there is no need to fear those forces in the Tiandi Palace. Even if the Heavenly Emperor Palace is born now, there is still hope for directly sweeping all the upper third heaven forces, and there is no need to do so. But Tiandi Palace did just that, hiding behind the scenes, controlling everything, and not restricting the major forces from improving their strength. Such a move is weird. But one thing is certain, that is, How High Sea Ancestor has indeed integrated a treasure into the fragment of the domain, which can make the ancient world of Xuanxu grow into a taboo world. But as for what kind of treasure, it is not very clear. The ultimate goal of our Heavenly Emperor Palace should be to create a taboo world, but what the specific plan is, I am afraid that only those palace masters know about it, but they won't tell us. Emperor Guangling was also a little annoyed. After all, he is also one of the top leaders of the Heavenly Emperor Palace, an invincible Taoist ancestor, but he is not qualified to know the secrets. HMPH, wait until I step into the half-step domain ancestor, let's see if you talk. Emperor Guangling thought to himself. Immediately, he thought of the few treasures he had in the Guangling Cold Palace, and his heart started to hurt again. Don't let me know who it is, or I will kill you all. Emperor Guangling put down his harsh words and said. Chapter 1122 Yi Xingqian and #39's Adventure. Fourth more. The taboo ancient well had a great and wide-ranging impact. Even though the taboo treasures were almost completely scraped, there were still many true ancestors who wanted to enter the taboo ancient well. But the forbidden area created by the ancient forbidden well is not for anyone to enter, so the major forces began to work together to transform the ancient forbidden well, making the ancient forbidden well a treasured place for cultivation so that the true monarchs and true ancestors can go in and practice. And the transformation needs to pay a huge price, so non-sect disciples must pay a huge price to enter the cultivation. This time, High Function also walked from the dark to the bright side, and also participated in it. The forces from the Daoshan realm also participated, but the benefits they received were very low, but they did not dare to ask too much. If it weren't for the fact that the powers of the upper three layers of heaven were not united, and this time they were fighting each other, the relationship would be even worse, otherwise the powers of the temples would not be able to survive at all. Yi Tian doesn't look down on the taboo ancient well, so he doesn't care about it, but still arranges some human race geniuses and some geniuses from the 9 Extremes Legion to enter it. In a flash, hundreds of thousands of years have passed. During this period of time, the ancient world of Xuanxu was still relatively bottlenecked, and there were no forbidden treasures, but the major forces sent many disciples to explore all over the ancient world. Once the forbidden treasures were discovered, I am afraid they will arrive at the first time not as sluggish as the forbidden ancient well of the real country of Konjac. Otherwise, they will definitely arrive before the mysterious force that destroys the heavenly spirit sect, thus plundering the treasures of the forbidden ancient well. During this time, the Juji Legion developed rapidly, more and more human geniuses were willing to join the Juji Legion, and now the number of true ancestors of the Juji Legion has reached more than 2,000. The number of true ancestors of the human race is even more, almost as many as 300,000, which is also based on the huge number of the human race. In the ancient world of Xuanxu, few races can have such a huge population as the human race. Although many races have enough numbers, they are basically beast races without any wisdom. In the field of intelligent races, the human race is the first, otherwise so many geniuses would not be born. There are many geniuses in the human race, and many geniuses have even joined some of the upper third-level forces, and Yi Tian has no way to ban them all. Besides, even he joined the Black Wind Mountain, why can't others join the other upper three-level forces? Therefore, Yi Tian let it go. Moreover, this is also good for the human race. After all, the human race has joined enough forces in the upper third layer, and those upper third layer forces are embarrassed to target the human race. It can be said that the future of the human race is still bright. And Yi Tian's progress in this period is also very fast. The great wilderness Dharma body has been cultivated to the peak of the Dacheng realm by him, and he is only one step away from entering the perfect realm. Moreover, he can feel that he has almost broken the shackles of the bottleneck, and he can really break through only a little bit. He can even feel that something is nurturing in the depths of the soul, and he believes that it is the supreme source of the Tao. However, he was still a little off. It is very difficult for the great wilderness Dharma body to break through from the peak of Dacheng to the perfect state. Even if his Tao natal talent far exceeds that of others, and there are 7 mysterious ancient world records to improve the speed of cultivation, he can use it is also very difficult to raise the Zongqin Taoism to the perfect state. If it is replaced by other people, it is almost delusional, and there is no hope. That kid Xingqian is gone. Yi Tian frowned. He used a self-created positioning source magical power on his son Yi Xingqian, called void positioning technique, which is difficult to crack even by an ordinary true ancestor. But just now, he sensed that the void positioning technique had failed. For the first time, he was a little nervous, for fear that something would happen to his son. But there is no problem with the bloodline sensing. If something really happens to Yi Xingqian, the bloodline sensing will make him feel shocked, but this is not the case at present. Afterwards, he figured it out, but he didn't figure out anything. The rules of the ancient world of Xuanxu are very powerful, and it is difficult for even Taoist ancestors to calculate anything, not to mention that the taboo rules have begun to be integrated into the ancient world of Xuanxu, and it is too difficult to calculate the specific situation. According to Yi Tian's guess, Yi Xingqian should have fallen into a special place. At this time, a top true ancestor of the Juji Legion came. This top true ancestor is a top true ancestor who has recently broken through. He was sent to protect Yi Xingqian. Now that the message is coming, it must be to report on Yi Xingqian's situation. General, the young master has entered a strange star and can't sense it. The top true ancestor reports. You wait there, I'll go right over. Yi Tian sent a message to the past, said. Swish. Yi Tian used the extreme speed of Tiangong and quickly left the real country of virtual innocence. Not long after, Yi Tian walked out of the void and came to a silent starry sky. There is an ancient star standing there, surrounded by ordinary uninhabited stars and some meteorite belts. It looks very ordinary here, and this star seems to have no movement. After Yi Tian came here, several true ancestors of the Juji Legion appeared, and they bowed down and said respectfully, General. Yi Tian nodded, and immediately enveloped this immemorial star with copying talent, but was disappointed. He couldn't sense the breath of any life, as if this star blocked his copying talent. How powerful is his copying talent, and this star can block his copying talent, this is not easy. You go back first, I'll go in and take a look. Yi Tian ordered. Yes, several true ancestors responded. In fact, they also sent a clone to check, but they couldn't find anything, and they couldn't find Yi Xingqian at all, so it was useless to stay here. After several true ancestors left, Yi Tian copied his body and let this body enter the star. He is not worried about his own safety, but is afraid that he will be caught in it, and then no one can save his son. Therefore, he must be careful. Inside the ancient stars. Yi Tian came in, it seems that this is normal, there are many stars. The only thing that is a little shocking is that there are many creatures here, but he obviously can't detect the talent of any creature with the copy talent outside the stars. But now that I came in, I saw so many creatures, and the copy talent can also be detected. Obviously, it is a certain rule of the stars that restricts the exploration of external forces. After Xingqian came in, it must have entered a certain place, I just need to find that place. Yi Tian murmured. I saw that Yi Tian used one of his own avatar talents, and the avatars appeared one by one. These avatars have no power, but they are very useful for exploration. Numerous clones began to shuttle towards the stars, almost all over the planet. No matter how secret or special the place is, it is difficult to hide this kind of detection method. Not long after, a clone suddenly disappeared, completely losing touch with Yi Tian. Found, Yi Tian put away all the clones, and the power returned. Immediately, Yi Tian came to the place where the clone disappeared. This is an abyss, and if the spirit is probed, it is a very ordinary abyss, but Yi Tian knows that this is definitely not an ordinary abyss, otherwise his clone will not disappear. Immediately, Yi Tian jumped directly into the abyss, and suddenly a suction came. He didn't resist, but followed the suction. In a blink of an eye, he came to another world. As soon as he came in, Yi Tian's expression changed, and he sensed the weak dark forbidden power. Forbidden treasure land, and it is still a forbidden treasure land that is bred. Yi Tian thought to himself. This is a treasure land, but he is not excited, but is deeply worried, he is worried that something will happen to the stars. Boom, duplicating talent and divine sense to investigate the situation here at the same time, and soon found his son Yi Xingqian. At this time, Yi Xingqian's state was a little strange. He is sitting cross-legged under a giant tree, and the power of forbidden rules is permeating all around his body, and the power of darkness and taboo circulates inside his body. Good money Jiao. But his life aura is very stable, but is climbing at an incredible speed. In addition, he is no longer the half-step true ancestor, but has been promoted to the true ancestor realm. This is the power of darkness and taboo. Xingqian has mastered the power of darkness and taboo, how is this possible? Yi Tian was shocked. How difficult it is to master the power of the dark taboo. He has tried again and again by relying on the copied body before finally mastering the power of the dark taboo. And his son Yi Xingqian doesn't have the talent for copying. Could this be the forbidden sacred tree? Yi Tian looked at this giant tree. The forbidden sacred tree can make people master the power of darkness and taboo, he knows this. But how precious the forbidden tree is, this tree is not like the forbidden tree. Could it be the castrated version of the forbidden tree? Only the dark forbidden area can give birth to the forbidden tree, but now the ancient world of Xuanshu has the potential to become the forbidden world, so a taboo tree similar to the forbidden tree but much lower in level is born. Possibility. Yi Tian guessed Daoyu. He did not touch Yi Xingqian, but accelerated the time for 4 weeks to let him complete the transformation earlier. In the environment of time acceleration, only a few days passed in the outside world. Yi Xingqian completely completed the transformation and woke up. Chapter 11:23 Amazing Opportunity, the heart of the tree is forbidden. First update. Father. Yi Xingchen saw his father Yi Tian and quickly got up and shouted. Xingchen, what's the matter with you? Why did you suddenly master the dark taboo power? Yi Tian asked. Yi Xingchen quickly explained. Father, I came to this planet before, and an accident happened to this treasure place. After I came in, I remembered the forbidden treasure place my father said, but I couldn't get out for a while, so I started to investigate here. Then I saw this tree, with a black fruit on it. I thought to myself that it must be a treasure. I wanted to pick it off and have a look, but as soon as I picked it off, it melted into my body. There is no way, I can only try to refine it. As a result, I have mastered the power of the dark taboo, and I have also broken through to the realm of the great Tao and become a true ancestor. So it is. Yi Tian was a little surprised. He looked at the giant tree, and there was no fruit on it. Apparently it was the only fruit. Xingchen, have you explored the entire space? Yi Tian asked. Father, I didn't have time to investigate, I only saw this giant tree and came here. Yi Xingchen said. Be careful, stay here and don't move, I'll take a look around. Yi Tian said, and then walked around. This place is very spacious, but perhaps because it has not yet been fully bred, there are very few taboo strange objects here. Yi Tian searched for a long time and only found a few, and they were all low-level taboo strange objects, not very big. It seems that the most valuable is this giant tree. Yi Tian came under the giant tree again, and couldn't help but sigh that his son's luck was against the sky, to be able to meet such an opportunity. 387. He used to want his children and his wife to master the dark taboo power, but he couldn't. After all, they didn't have the talent to copy and couldn't copy the body. And forbidden treasures like the forbidden tree fragment, he couldn't get it either. But now he did not expect that his son would have the opportunity to master the power of darkness and taboos. This tree can give birth to such fruit, it must be very extraordinary, there is no other use. Yi Tian murmured. His divine sense tried to penetrate into this taboo tree, but was blocked by a force, unable to penetrate halfway. Even the copy talent can't detect the talent of this tree. I don't know if this tree is not a living being, or if this tree contains some special rules that block the copy talent. Xingchen, get out of the way first. Yi Tian said. It is good. Yi Xingchen quickly backed away and stayed away from here. Immediately, Yi Tian held the taboo spear and stabbed the tree fiercely. Boom! A thin layer of rules screen blocked Yi Tian's taboo spear, which confirmed Yi Tian's guess. This tree is not simple, and it contains a special rule that is integrated into the world, and even the copy talent cannot detect its situation. But this does not mean that the copy talent is useless. As long as this layer of rules is broken, the copy talent can detect the information of this giant tree. Break me! Yi Tian struck with all his strength and bombarded the rules screen. Boom! The giant tree shook CJFI and the rules screen was cracking. After all, this is only a rule of heaven and earth, it does not have real attackability and defensibility, and this giant tree may not really grow up, so it is difficult to resist Yi Tian's attack. After several attacks, the rules screen completely shattered. At this time, Yi Tian's copy talent finally detected the situation of this giant tree. Species: Forbidden Tree. Defense Origin Talent, Super God Level. Devouring the Origin Talent, Super God Level. Healing Origin Talent, Super God Level. Introduction. The descendants of the Forbidden Tree, there is a glimmer of hope to grow into the Forbidden Tree in the future. 10 trillion years can breed a forbidden fruit. The forbidden fruit can help the living beings to control the dark forbidden power. It contains the heart of the Forbidden Tree, refining and refining. Later, you can control the power of darkness and taboos, and you can also break the shackles of life and surpass the limit. A Forbidden Tree heart can only be used by 6 people. Note: when the Heavenly Forbidden Tree is taken out, the Heavenly Forbidden Tree will be turned into an ordinary tree. It turned out to be called the Heavenly Forbidden Tree. Through this introduction, Yi Tian had a thorough understanding of the Heavenly Forbidden Tree. To put it simply, it is indeed a weakened version of the Forbidden Tree. After all, it was only born in this forbidden treasure, and naturally it cannot be a forbidden treasure that defies the sky. According to the division of practitioners, it is estimated that it is not even a taboo treasure, it can only be regarded as a top-level forbidden strange object, but because of its effect, it is comparable to the forbidden treasure. For the Supreme Taoist, this forbidden tree is completely useless, but for others, this forbidden tree is a supreme treasure. It takes 1 billion years to breed a forbidden fruit. If you have the confidence to wait for it, it is enough to cultivate a large number of forbidden fruit. But for such a long time, I have no confidence to wait. Although it will be very loss-making to directly take out the heart of the forbidden tree, it will be far away. It cannot be compared with the constant stream of forbidden fruit, but it can cultivate several true ancestors who control the dark forbidden power in a short period of time. Yi Tian thought to himself. Another point is that he is worried that this forbidden treasure will be exposed. At that time, I am afraid that countless true ancestors will go crazy, and those Taoist ancestors of great powers will also be born forcibly to snatch the ownership of this forbidden tree. At that time, how could he have the opportunity to slowly cultivate the heavenly forbidden tree? Therefore, directly taking away the heart of the forbidden tree is undoubtedly one of the best choices. Moreover, the heavenly forbidden tree heart also has the effect of breaking the shackles of living beings and surpassing the limit, which may help him break through to the supreme true ancestor's combat power. I'm sorry. Yi Tian frantically attacked the heart of the forbidden tree. A door technique bombarded the heart of the heavenly forbidden tree. Even though the heavenly forbidden tree's defense was very strong, it was difficult to resist Yi Tian's attack. After a while, the forbidden tree cracked open. After a full hour of bombardment, Yi Tian completely punched the heavenly forbidden tree into a huge passage. Then, Yi Tian drilled into the heavenly forbidden tree and found the heart of the heavenly forbidden tree. Just when Yi Tian was about to take away the heart of the forbidden tree began its final resistance. Boom, one after another, the chains were bound, and it seemed to stop Yi Tian. The heavenly forbidden tree itself has no wisdom, but under the protection of its own rules, it has the ability to counterattack. However, these can't help Yi Tian. The Great Wilderness Law. The Zongqin Dao technique, which was close to the perfect state, protected Yi Tian, and it was difficult for him to be harmed by any attack bound by these rules and chains. When Yi Tian kept trying to take away the heart of the heavenly forbidden tree, the leaves of the heavenly forbidden tree began to turn yellow, the bark began to dry up, and the vitality seemed to be slowly fading away. Moreover, the breath of this forbidden tree continued to decline and gradually became ordinary. Click, accompanied by a certain cracking sound, it represented that the heart of the forbidden tree was completely taken away by Yi Tian, and it also represented that this forbidden tree was no longer a forbidden tree, but an ordinary giant tree with a thorough foundation. Ruined, there is no hope of any improvement. Yi Tian looked at the huge tree heart 10 meters long in front of him, nodded with satisfaction, and waved it away. Father. Yi Xingqian flew over. Let's go. This forbidden treasure is worthless at the moment, but you can send someone to guard it. If there are any more treasures born, we will know as soon as possible. Yi Tian said. Yes, father. Yi Xingqian nodded. Immediately, Yi Tian took Yi Xingqian tore through the void of the forbidden treasure land and returned to the outside world. After all, for Xingqian, the indestructible space barrier is nothing to him. However, it is difficult to find the location of this forbidden treasure, but it is not difficult to get out of it. Soon, Yi Tian returned to the human race with his son Yi Xingqian. Immediately, he called his wife Xiao Yu, younger sister Yi Yu, and daughter Yi Xingyu, took out the heavenly forbidden tree heart, and informed them of the use of the heavenly forbidden tree heart. For a moment, the three of them were shocked. Their knowledge is not short. They know how precious such a treasure is, and if they say it, it is enough to cause countless Taoist ancestors to fight desperately. They are not hypocritical. One person took away a piece of heavenly forbidden tree heart, and refined it in Yi Tian's palace to prevent accidents. Yi Tian personally protected the Dharma and let them retreat and refine. With the passage of time, the three of them gradually refined the heavenly forbidden tree heart, controlled the dark taboo power one after another, and their foundation improved a lot. That is to say, their chances of hitting the supreme true ancestor in the future far surpass those of others. However, even if the shackles are broken, whether they can have the opportunity to hit the supreme true ancestor depends on chance and luck. For example, many true ancestors, even if there is no bottleneck between the invincible true ancestor and the supreme true ancestor, they cannot break through. After all, they can't even reach the pinnacle of the invincible true ancestor, and they don't even have the qualifications to hit the supreme true ancestor. After Xiao Yu, Yi Yu, and Yi Xingyu took control of the dark taboo power, Yi Tian also began to refine a piece of heavenly taboo tree heart. He was very curious about what would happen after he refined the heavenly forbidden tree heart. Chapter 11:24 Supreme True Ancestor, 4 Forbidden Techniques. Second. Yi Tian refines the heavenly forbidden tree heart very fast, and it did not take long to refine this heavenly forbidden tree heart. Suddenly, he felt that the shackles in the dark disappeared. Yi Tian had some guesses in his heart and was quite excited. He wanted to try it out to see if he really had no shackles and could easily attack the Supreme Ancestor's combat power. Of course, if he wants to make a breakthrough, he still needs to cultivate a Zongqin Dao technique to the perfect state. It's just that there were shackles in the past, which made it difficult for him to cultivate a Zongqin Dao technique to the perfect level. This is also a common shackle problem for all living beings. Otherwise, it would not be too difficult to cultivate an invincible true ancestor with the background of those Zhouzhongtian and even legendary powers. But even if they spend a lot of money to cultivate an invincible true ancestor who is the ultimate powerhouse, there is no way to help them break the shackles and achieve the supreme, true ancestor. Therefore, those big forces do not want to waste time and resources to cultivate the ultimate powerhouse of the invincible true ancestor. After all, if the invincible true ancestor's ultimate powerhouse cannot break through to become the supreme true ancestor, he will not stay at the true ancestor level for too long, and the invincible true ancestor ultimate powerhouse and the top invincible true ancestor have broken through to become Dao ancestor, and the increase in strength is similar. Therefore, in terms of income, it is not cost-effective to go to great lengths to cultivate the ultimate powerhouse of the invincible true ancestor. Of course, if the invincible true ancestor can rely on his own opportunity to be promoted to the ultimate powerhouse of the invincible true ancestor, the major forces are extremely welcome. For example, Haifeng Mountain did not try his best to cultivate Yi Tian, but Yi Tian himself raised his strength to the ultimate invincible true ancestor, and Haifeng Mountain was naturally happy. At this time, Yi Tian comprehended the great wilderness Dharma body, and as expected, found a difference. Before, he had comprehended the great wilderness Dharma body, and the shackles in the dark had always bound him, making it difficult for him to break the bottleneck and cultivate the great desolation Dharma body to the perfect state. But now, he felt that the restraint disappeared. There is hope, give me another period of time, I promise to be able to cultivate the great wilderness Dharma body to the perfect state. Yi Tian was quite excited. Immediately, he announced a retreat. The son Yi Xingchen went back to stabilize the real ancestor realm, and the daughter Yi Xingyu had just mastered the power of the dark taboo, and she was not far from the real ancestor, so she was ready to go back to the real ancestor realm. Xiao Yu and Yi Yu had just mastered the dark taboo power, so naturally they had to study it in seclusion. In this way, everyone retreated and practiced. Time passed day by day, and in the blink of an eye, tens of thousands of years passed. During this period, a forbidden treasure land was born in the ancient world of Xuanshu, but unfortunately the value was not very great, only some low-level and medium-level forbidden strange objects were unearthed. However, it has also attracted many forces to target. The invincible ancestors did not fall, but some ordinary ancestors, elite ancestors and top ancestors fell a lot, and the strongest ancestors also fell dozens. Compared with the battle at the forbidden ancient well, the losses this time were very small. And Yi Tian didn't participate because he was still practicing in seclusion. In the blink of an eye, thousands of years have passed. In fact, he has been in retreat for a long time in a time-accelerating environment. This day, Yi Tian's soul shook for a while, opened his eyes, revealing endless joy. Finally a breakthrough. 1. Yi Tian laughed. While speaking, his great wilderness Dharma body instantly broke into the perfect state. Boom! In an instant, his aura broke into another level, and a source of origin appeared in the depths of the soul, which was the supreme source of the Tao. I saw the birth of the supreme Taoyuan, and countless sources poured in, nourishing Yi Tian's soul and body, and constantly growing his strength. Stepping into the supreme true ancestor's combat power, Yi Tian's current strength is not much improved. After all, he has just broken through, and his background needs to be accumulated. But Yi Tian clearly sensed that his cultivation of the Thousand Dao technique is far from being as simple as in the past, and he can quickly cultivate other middle Thousand Dao techniques to the perfect state, and it will not even take too long to complete the middle Thousand Dao technique. Cultivation to the extreme level. But, what Yi Tian needs most at the moment is an origin forbidden technique that can quickly improve his strength. Black Wind Mountain must have such a secret technique. Go to Haifeng Mountain. Yi Tian used the Black Wind domain technique and descended to the small domain of the Wind King. Immediately, he took out the general order to contact the Wind King. General Juji, do you have anything to do with this king? The voice of the Wind King came. Lord Wind King, I would like to know if the Black Wind Mountain has a forbidden technique that uses the power of the source to enhance its strength. Yi Tian asked. What, you want a forbidden technique? Do you know that if you cultivate a forbidden technique, your foundation will be completely destroyed? Hey, no, your breath. The Wind King was extremely surprised, and a ray of consciousness incarnate appeared in front of Yi Tian. You have condensed the supreme Taoyuan and become the supreme true ancestor. The Wind King asked in surprise. Yes, Yi Tian admitted. It's amazing. The King of Wind sighed. I didn't expect you to achieve a goal that I couldn't achieve before. The Supreme Ancestor, it's too difficult to step in. I don't know how you step in. You are in the ranks of the Supreme True Ancestor, but since you have stepped into the Supreme True Ancestor, you can become a Heavenly General in the Black Wind Mountain. Heavenly General. Yi Tian first heard about the position of high-function Yutian. I saw the Wind King explained. The Heavenly Generals are above the Generals, but their status is equal to that of the Heavenly Kings, even to a certain extent, much higher than that of the ordinary Heavenly Kings. Moreover, the Heavenly Kings cannot command the Heavenly Generals, only the 10 Kings have it. Qualified to govern Heavenly Generals. Lord Wind King, can Tianzhong be banned? Yi Tian asked. Of course it is possible. The Wind King said with a smile. If the Supreme True Ancestor doesn't practice forbidden techniques, wouldn't he be wasting his talent? Moreover, all forbidden techniques in Haifeng Mountain are open to the generals without any cost. When Yi Tian heard this, he was immediately excited. But King Feng said again, Juji Heavenly General, because the Heavenly General is too important, it is not suitable to be exposed at present. It is best to expose it only at the most critical time, so it is temporarily impossible to hold the Heavenly General canonization ceremony for you. In addition, your breakthrough to become don't tell anyone about the Supreme True Ancestor for the time being. Try not to go out recently, otherwise it's easy to be seen through by some people with special secret techniques. For flowers. Yes, Yi Tian nodded. Immediately. The King of Wind replaced Yi Tian's general order with a Heavenly General token, and through this Heavenly General token, he could enter the Forbidden Art bookstore in Haifeng Mountain. This is a book guest who can only enter the Heavenly Generals and 10 Kings, and the Heavenly Kings are not qualified to enter. Wow! Yi Tian entered the treasure house of forbidden techniques in the Black Wind Mountain through the Heaven Commander's order, but after entering the treasure house, he was a little disappointed. There are not many forbidden techniques here, to be precise, very few. There are only dozens of forbidden techniques here, each of which is engraved on an ancient stone tablet. Yi Tian looked at these forbidden techniques and found that many forbidden techniques were used to increase the physical strength, some were used to increase the strength of the soul, and some were used to increase the power of the true ancestor. Of course, there are also forbidden techniques that temporarily erupt, which consumes the power of the source to temporarily break out combat power. If other people use such forbidden techniques, they will be useless after they are used. But his supreme source can continuously generate the power of the source, and the power of the source is almost endless, so he is not afraid of consumption. Yi Tian is not greedy either, he only chose the 4 forbidden techniques. If he cultivated too many forbidden techniques, it would be a waste of time for cultivation and the gains would outweigh the losses. A forbidden technique for tempering the flesh, the unrepentant body refinement technique. A soul-based forbidden technique, soul-shattering tempering. A forbidden technique of the true ancestor's power, the origin of 10,000 stacks. There is also a temporary burst of forbidden art, the 9-fold explosion. The 4 forbidden techniques, Yi Tian inherited one by one. Then, Yi Tian left the Black Wind Mountain. After returning to the human race, Yi Tian began to fully cultivate the 4 forbidden techniques. Every moment, he could feel that a lot of source power was consumed, and then a lot of source power was born. If it weren't for the Supreme Tao Ancestor, even if other true ancestors possessed a large amount of treasures to restore their origin, they would not be able to withstand this consumption, and they would consume their origin in an instant, completely disappearing from the crowd. With the passage of time, Yi Tian's strength is getting stronger and stronger, and the power of the flesh, the power of the soul, and the power of the true ancestor are all increasing at an incredible speed. Moreover, Yi Tian's 10,000 demons true spear, selfless vacuum, and Tiangang speed are all progressing at an incomparably fast speed. Among them, the selfless vacuum, which is in the realm of small achievement, has quickly reached the realm of Dachang, and the 2 major techniques of Wansha Gen spear and Tiangong extreme speed are also improving to the perfect state. In addition, Yi Tian's forbidden body absorbs the dark forbidden power far faster than before, and the tempering of the forbidden body is much faster than in the past. At this speed, it is estimated that it will not be long before his taboo body will increase to 50%. In the blink of an eye, hundreds of thousands of years have passed. Chapter 1125 Ouyangju and Hasho 39, enters the Supreme True Ancestor. I'm making great progress. Yi Tian finished the retreat, sensed his current strength, and couldn't help exclaiming. After cultivating the unrepentant body refinement technique, soul-crushing refinement technique, and 10,000 layers of origin technique, his current physical power, true ancestor power, and soul power are several times higher than before, which can be said to be an earth-shaking transformation. In addition, the three major Zongqin Dao techniques, namely, the vacuum of no self, the real spear of 10,000 evils, and the forbidden technique of Tiangong, have also cultivated to the perfect state, and the great wilderness Dharma body is gradually approaching the limit state. In addition, Yi Tian's Xian Dao of the blade has progressed too fast, as if he has no constraints, he is progressing rapidly, and now he has mastered half of the Xian Dao of the blade. The Supreme Wind Dao and the Supreme Life Dao have also made great progress, but since Yi Tian did not fully understand and cultivate them, he cannot compare with the Supreme Sword Dao. All in all, Yi Tian's current strength is much stronger than in the past, and it is also 10 times or even 10 times stronger than when he was just promoted to Supreme True Ancestor. With my current strength, the invincible True Ancestor can't stop my move at all. Even the invincible True Ancestor with a powerful life-saving ability, I won't need a few moves to kill him. Yi Tian estimated. According to his own 3/8/7 estimate, his current strength should be equivalent to the third-level Heavenly Dao Ancestor, and he is still at the top level of the third-level Heavenly Dao Ancestor. More importantly, he is still far from reaching the limit of the Supreme True Ancestor. Once he cultivates to the limit of the Supreme True Ancestor, his combat power may be comparable to that of the fourth Heavenly Dao Ancestor. It is conceivable that once he has entered the realm of Taoist ancestors, what level of combat power will leap into? The Supreme True Ancestor is too terrifying, the invincible True Ancestor is like a baby to the Supreme True Ancestor. I must make my wife, sister and children all promoted to the Supreme True Ancestor, no matter how much they pay, they must be promoted. Yi Tian murmured. Other true ancestors are not qualified to attack the Supreme True Ancestor, but his sons and daughters, his wife, and his younger sister have already broken the shackles of life in the dark with the help of Heavenly Forbidden Magic Heart or Heavenly Forbidden Fruit. A small breakthrough can enter the Supreme Ancestor's combat power. So, they are still very hopeful. There are still 2 Heavenly Forbidden Tree Hearts left, what should I do? Yi Tian muttered. Suddenly, he thought of Ouyang Zhu'er. Ouyang Zhu'er is really good to him, the relationship between the two is very good, and the last time Zutianzhenghua was invaded, if it wasn't for Ouyang Zhu'er's shot, his wife Xiaoyu would be in danger. Therefore, Ouyang Zhu'er can be said to have saved Xiaoyu's life. Furthermore, Ouyang Zhu'er brought him into the treasure land many times, which made him gain a lot. He should give Ouyang Zhu'er a share of the Heavenly Forbidden Tree Heart. Then, he asked Ouyang Zhu'er to meet, and the two met soon. Brother Yi, what are you looking for from me? Ouyang Zhu'er asked. This is for you. Yi Tian handed a piece of the Heavenly Forbidden Tree Heart to Ouyang Zhu'er. Heavenly Forbidden Tree Heart. Ouyang Zhu'er recognized it at a glance, and said in shock, where did you get the Heavenly Forbidden Tree Heart? This thing is extremely rare. Yi Tian didn't hide it either, and talked about his discovery of a forbidden treasure. How do you know that the heart of the Heavenly Forbidden Tree has such an effect? This is also an extremely secret in the realm of the gods in heaven. If my elders were not very strong, I would not have known such secrets. Ouyang Zhu'er was surprised. He felt that the 10 kings of the Black Wind Mountain did not necessarily know such secrets, and Yi Tian should have no chance to obtain such secrets. It happened to be known from an ancient book. Yi Tian said casually. Ouyang Zhu'er did not go to the bottom of it, but said, your choice is very good, although the Heavenly Forbidden Tree has hoped to grow into a forbidden tree, even if it is not cultivated, it will take a long time to produce a Heavenly Forbidden Fruit in 10 trillion years. Years change easily in the middle, so it is a normal choice to dig out the heart of the forbidden tree. But you really want to give me this piece of the heart of the forbidden tree? Do you know what this piece of the heart of the forbidden tree can be exchanged for? I know that the heart of the forbidden tree is very precious, but you also help me a lot, and it should be given to you. 1. Yi Tian doesn't care. Ouyang Zhu'er was very moved, she squeezed the heart of the forbidden tree, and her heart was very entangled. Once, she also wanted to find a piece of Heavenly Forbidden Tree Heart or Heavenly Forbidden Fruit, but unfortunately she could not find it. Even though the level of the Heavenly Forbidden Tree was not very high, its value was more precious than the forbidden treasure. Among the forbidden treasures, the forbidden tree is number 1. After all, the Heavenly Forbidden Tree Heart and Heavenly Forbidden Fruit can give people the opportunity to step into the Supreme True Ancestor. For a true ancestor or a force, they would rather give up the forbidden treasure and compete for the Heavenly Forbidden Tree. A forbidden tree was once born in the God Heaven realm, and as a result, a large number of Supreme Taoist ancestors and invincible true ancestors were killed. It is conceivable that once the news of the birth of the heavenly forbidden tree in the Xuanxu ancient realm leaks, the dormant supreme Tao ancestor and the invincible Tao ancestor will wake up and snatch the heavenly forbidden tree at all costs. Brother Yi, I have accepted the heavenly forbidden tree heart, and I do need it. However, you must never tell anyone that you have obtained the heavenly forbidden tree heart, otherwise, even if you say that you have run out of it, others will not believe it. Even killing you at all costs. Ouyang Jor reminded. Yi Tian nodded. After Ouyang Jor put away the heart of the forbidden tree, he said again, I will go back to attack the supreme true ancestor first, and after I break through, I will take you to a place. Yi Tian didn't know where Ouyang Jor took him, but he agreed and nodded. Ouyang Jor left, Yi Tian also went back to continue retreat. Although the progress is starting to be slow now, as long as he retreats for a long time, his strength will increase rapidly. Another tens of thousands of years have passed. This day, Ouyang Jor communicated to Yi Tian that she had broken through to the supreme battle power of the true ancestor. Yi Tian was not surprised at all about this. After all, Ouyang Jor was the reincarnation of the half-step domain ancestor. It was very easy to practice Taoism and other secret techniques. Now that he has broken the shackles with the help of the heavenly forbidden tree heart, it is naturally not difficult to advance to the supreme true ancestor's combat power. However, Ouyang Jor is still going to retreat for a period of time, and she still has to practice forbidden techniques. So, Yi Tian waited for some more years. In these years, son Yi Xingchen and daughter Yi Xingyu have made great progress, and now they are the top existences of the elite true ancestor level, and they are not far from the top true ancestor. The progress of Xiao Yu and Yi Yu is even more exaggerated. Xiao Yu has directly leapt from the true ancestor to the invincible true ancestor, and Yi Yu has become the true ancestor of the strongest, and he is not weak in the ranks of the true ancestor. After all, after they have mastered the dark taboo power and taboo body, their strength will naturally skyrocket, plus there is a taboo space, the cultivation speed will be much faster. 5. Their strength will naturally skyrocket. This day, Ouyang Jor went out and came to Yi Tian. Brother Yi, let's go. Ouyang Jor said. Jor, where are we going? Yi Tian asked. Go and fetch a treasure house I once had, the danger there is nothing to us, and I have already explored it, and it has not been found. In addition, there is a treasure there that is very useful to you. If you can successfully retrieve it walking through that treasure house, my strength can also improve rapidly. Ouyang Jor said. Yi Tian didn't ask any further questions, and followed Ouyang Jor to leave the kingdom of void heaven quickly. After Ouyang Jor performed the shadowless step, no one knew their whereabouts. After a while, they came to a domain fragment space. This is an unowned domain fragment space, because this domain fragment is too small, has no resources, and is too remote, so far it has not been discovered. There are not many fragments of the unowned realm like this in the ancient Xuanxu realm, and there are countless opportunities in the ancient Xuanxu realm, so no one has the patience to slowly look for them. Swish, the two tore apart the void and entered this domain fragment space. Yi Tian came here and probed for a while, but found nothing. Obviously, with his current strength, he wouldn't even try to find Ouyang Jor's treasure trove, otherwise others would have found it long ago. Open, Ouyang Jor shattered the void with one hand and opened a passage. Then, Yi Tian and Ouyang 5.8 Jor entered it instantly. As soon as he came in, a monstrous hand attacked. This is a giant ape, and it is a giant ape of the Tao ancestral level, but at this time this giant ape is bound by the rules of the ancient world of Xuanxu, and its main body is in the unknown void, and only one hand sticks out. Sure enough, there are still Tao ancestor level creatures that have not died. Ouyang Jor was not surprised. And the strength of this giant ape is not strong, and it is only the 5th level Taoist ancestor. Now that it is forced to take action, the maximum combat power it exerts is the ultimate combat power of the 2nd level Taoist ancestor, and the strength of the 3rd level Taoist ancestor can be exerted under the outbreak. If the invincible true ancestor comes in, I am afraid it will be very troublesome, but Yi Tian and Ouyang Jor are the supreme true ancestor now, and suppressing this giant ape is very simple. Frozen. When Ouyang Jor shot, the giant ape's hand was directly frozen and spread to the opponent's body. Crack. The voice just fell. The frozen giant ape's big hand shattered into countless pieces, and there was a scream from the unknown depths, and there was no sound. Tread. The two landed from the air and stepped on the ground. Chapter 1126 The Ultimate Goal, The Forbidden Way. 4th More. What happened to the great ape at the Tao ancestor level just now? Yi Tian asked curiously. Ouyang Jor explained. There is actually a special world fragment here. I took it out from a forbidden place and integrated it into the vast sea world. This world fragment is a bit special, and its secret is very strong, but it is also here. Some powerful creatures will be born, and the best ones are comparable to the Taoist ancestors of the 6th and 7th layers of heaven. When traveling through the dark forbidden area, the Taoist creatures in the fragments of this world must be killed and injured a lot, but there must be some Taoist creatures who survived by chance. These Taoist creatures, he is a born Tao ancestor. Although he does not master the Tao, he has a very terrifying talent and physical strength. That is to say, he is under the suppression of the ancient world of Xuanxu, otherwise I would not dare to come in. Along the way, the two walked unhurriedly, and they didn't seem to be in a hurry. Many creatures attacked them and were beheaded by them one after another. But Ouyang Jor kept their corpses and extracted their blood. Jor, what is this for? What is the value of the blood of some true monarchs or ordinary true ancestor-level creatures? Yi Tian wondered. Ouyang Jor said with a smile, don't underestimate these creatures, they are very special. If ordinary creatures without wisdom can become true monarchs, true ancestors, and Taoist ancestors, the bloodlines of these creatures are very powerful and contain special energy. For some weak creatures, these blood is the supreme treasure, which can wash their aptitude and enhance their potential. For example, the ordinary genius of your human race, a drop of blood is enough to change their aptitude and gain a huge foundation. Enhancement. It is of no use to me, but for the human race, these bloods are enough to change their destiny. Moreover, these blood are only 29 pure energy, and will not change the blood of the human race. I knew this secret back then, this take away the fragments of this world. So it is. Yi Tian was overjoyed. Immediately, he also began to kill the creatures here and collect the blood of these creatures. Anyway, even if all the creatures here are killed, after a long time, many creatures will still be born here. The creatures here are huge, how much blood can be imagined, and how many geniuses can be cultivated. The value of these blood is an astronomical figure. Of course, for Yi Tian, these blood can only be used to cultivate the human race, and it is of little value to him. After a while, another Tao ancestor creature shot, trying to assassinate Yi Tian and Ouyang Jor. And the realm of this Taoist creature itself has reached the 6th level heavenly Taoist ancestor, but unfortunately it can only exert the strength comparable to the 3rd level heavenly Taoist ancestor, and can't kill Yi Tian and Ouyang Jor at all. And Yi Tian's strength was comparable to that of the top 3rd level heavenly Tao ancestor, so he could easily block the opponent and wound him. But Yi Tian didn't chase the past, there was no need for that. The purpose of their visit this time is to take away the treasure house, not to destroy all the creatures in this world fragment. A few days later, Yi Tian collected enough blood before he stopped collecting and followed Ouyang Jor to a palace in the center of the fragmented world. The prohibition outside this palace is very complicated and powerful, even Yi Tian can't understand it. Suddenly, Ouyang Jor said, Brother Yi, there is one thing that I have been lying to you all the time. In fact, I was not an ordinary Taoist ancestor in my previous life, but a half-step domain ancestor. 1. I know. Yi Tian is not surprised at all. You know. Ouyang Jor's eyes widened, how do you know that I am the reincarnation of the half-step ancestor? Yi Tian smiled and said, I'm not stupid, can ordinary Taoist ancestors be so omniscient by you? And you said before, you brought back this world fragment from a forbidden zone, and there are 6 or 7 heavenly Taoist creatures here. Ordinary Taoist ancestors do not have this ability. Guess a little more, your previous life strength is either the invincible true ancestor or the half-step domain ancestor. Right, Ouyang Jor nodded, she did have many loopholes in her usual times, and she knew that there was a problem after careful consideration. Then why don't you tear me apart? Ouyang Jor asked. I'm afraid of you, you are a half-step domain ancestor. Yi Tian joked. Ouyang Jor gave Yi Tian a blank look, but she knew that Yi Tian didn't care about her identity, and what happened to the ancestor of the half-step domain, that was also a previous life. Moreover, Yi Tian is already the supreme true ancestor. In the future, he can at least become the invincible true ancestor, and he has a great chance of becoming a half-step domain ancestor. So, her identity is nothing to be proud of. Brother Yi, in fact, we didn't know each other well at first, so naturally it's impossible for me to reveal my true identity to you. Besides, it's not convenient for me to tell you about my last life now. If something is said, it will have too much impact. I will tell you later. Ouyang Jor explained. It's okay, I also know that knowing some things is not good, but it will bring trouble to myself. Yi Tian expressed his understanding. I'll open this palace first. Yang Jor made a move, and soon opened the ban on the palace. The two walked in, and the ban was closed again, which also prevented those Taoist creatures from entering the palace. Although the wisdom of those Taoist creatures is not high, they also know that this palace is a good thing. It's a pity that they couldn't break through the prohibition of this palace. After all, this is the prohibition that Yang Jor personally arranged when he was the ancestor of the half-step domain in his previous life. How could those 5 or 6 heavenly ancestors be able to break it? Inside the palace, Yi Tian saw all kinds of treasures, which were only used for decoration, showing how rich Yang Jor was back then. In addition, the palace leads to one treasure house, and each treasure house stores different kinds of treasures. Yang Jor brought Yi Tian to a treasure house and opened the door of the treasure house. There are not many things in this treasure house, but each one is very precious. Yi Tian also saw quite a few forbidden strange objects and a forbidden treasure. That forbidden treasure is a bead that exudes terrible forbidden rules. This bead, I call it a battle bead, its role is to assist in combat. Those of us who have mastered the dark forbidden power, actually mobilize not much forbidden power. And this battle bead can store the dark forbidden power. When fighting, you can mobilize the dark taboo power without restrictions, and the combat power will increase a lot. Moreover, it can also absorb the enemy's dark taboo power. Although it cannot absorb all of the dark taboo power, it can absorb part of it, which is enough to weaken the enemy's attack. In terms of rank, it is only a first-class forbidden treasure, but its value is much stronger than that of ordinary forbidden treasures. Yang Jor explained. Such a forbidden treasure. Yi Tian was shocked. If he fights Yang Jor who is holding a battle bead, won't he be suppressed by Yang Jor? Of course, if the strength gap reaches a certain level, even if there is a taboo treasure support like the battle pearl, it is useless. This battle bead is not for Yi Tian, but Yang Jor introduced it to Yi Tian. Then, Yang Jor introduced a lot of good things, each of which made people greedy. But Yi Tian didn't have any idea, maybe he saw a lot of good things, so he calmed down. But until Yang Jor took out a treasure, he was completely restless. It was a broken stone tablet with all the taboo rules and some taboo characters on it. It was the first time he had seen such taboo characters. This stone tablet is something that I once entered the dark forbidden area, in a special place, and brought it out of my life. It's a pity that it is not very useful to me, but it is very important to you. Yang Jor pointed at the broken stone tablet. What is this? Yi Tian was curious. This should be a fragment of a top-level taboo treasure born in the dark forbidden area. Its use should be to record the rules of the dark taboo, and some taboo characters are naturally born on it. Each word of these taboo characters contains different mysteries. It can even be said that represents a taboo avenue. Brother Yi, you are not walking on a simple avenue, but a brand new avenue after the fusion of countless avenues. It is very difficult to take such a road. I have seen many peerless geniuses walking like this roads, but they failed one by one, and in the end, only 387 could choose one avenue. For example, you have realized the Xian Dao of Blades, the Shang Wind Dao and the Xian Life Dao, but this is only a very small part of the Dao you have built. How difficult is it for you to realize your own supreme Dao? Yang Jor said. Yi Tian did not refute. That's right, what he was walking on was the endless avenue, but it was too difficult to comprehend the supreme endless Dao. How long would it take to comprehend a supremely powerful Dao? At this time, Yang Jor said again, this stone tablet can help you. It records the forbidden way, and it is actually the most fundamental way of origin. You can completely comprehend the countless forbidden ways above, and associate the forbidden way with yours. The Tao is merged. At this point, you use the taboo Tao as the foundation to realize the forbidden Tao that belongs to you. In this way, it is much easier, and you don't need to comprehend each Tao of the strongest. In fact, the Tao of the strongest will still be in the future. Develop towards the forbidden path, so you can skip this step. There is no need to entangle with the powerful path. Those whose lifelong goals are only the most powerful Tao ancestors will be entangled in the most powerful Tao. For a supreme true ancestor like you, there is no need to struggle with this, and there is no need to waste time in order to comprehend a large number of the most powerful Tao. Taboo's Tao is the root of everything, and it is also the final direction. Even the ancestors of the domain have to comprehend the forbidden way. This broken stone tablet contains many forbidden ways, almost all-encompassing, but the forbidden ways contained on it are too weak, only suitable for beginners. Thus, it works for you, but not for me. After Yang Jor introduced, Yi Tian stared at this broken stone tablet, and his heart was very shaken. He put away the broken stone tablet and thanked Jor, thank you. He is very clear that the value of this broken stone tablet far exceeds the value of the heavenly forbidden tree heart. Even if the value of the heavenly forbidden tree heart is higher, it is of no use to the invincible true ancestor, but this stone tablet is useful to the invincible true ancestor. Moreover, this is what Uyang Jor once brought back from the dark forbidden area at a huge price for the ancestors of the half-step domain. It is conceivable how high its value is. Chapter 11:27 Forbidden Mountains. First update. Don't be polite to me. For me, this stone tablet is far less precious than the heart of the forbidden tree. Uyang Jor said sincerely. After all, she has already comprehended this taboo steel fragment. Even if she has been reincarnated, the taboo path contained on it is still engraved in her mind. Therefore, she can gradually realize it in the future, and she does not need this stone tablet fragment. The heavenly forbidden tree heart is different. If there is no heavenly forbidden tree heart, there is no way for her to break through to the realm of the supreme true ancestor, even if he is the reincarnation of the half-step domain ancestor. Therefore, Yi Tian has helped her a lot. Uyang Jor put away all the other treasures, then opened the other treasure houses of the palace one by one, and took away the resources inside. She was originally the resources and treasures she prepared for herself, and Yi Tian naturally wouldn't ask for it. Soon, the two left the palace. Before leaving, Uyang Jor shared a part of the control of this world fragment to Yi Tian. In the future, if Yi Tian lacks the special blood here, he can come here to get it. Anyway, the creatures on the fragments of this world have no threat to Yi Tian, and they can come to hunt and kill the creatures here at any time. Back in the human race, Yi Tian began to study the taboo steel fragment. Taboo space. Yi Tian came here to retreat, and here he specially opened up an area to build his own retreat. The taboo steel fragments are placed here. Yi Tian concentrates on comprehending the taboo above. This was also Yi Tian's first time involving the forbidden Tao. He felt the power of the forbidden Tao as soon as he comprehended it. Just a wisp of the forbidden Tao's breath was far superior to the most powerful Tao. The two sides are not on the same level at all. No wonder Uyang Jor asked me to give up the Tao of supreme power. The other people comprehend the Tao of supreme power for the sake of combat power and for the purpose of forcibly breaking into the realm of the ancestor of the Tao. But I can easily enter the ancestor of Tao in the future. The power is far beyond the powerful Tao. Yi Tian muttered. It can be said that no matter from which point of view, he should comprehend the forbidden Tao instead of wasting time on the supreme Tao. Moreover, there are too many supreme Tao, and he is walking on the endless Tao. If he comprehends one by one, he will not even think about mastering the supreme infinity Tao for hundreds of millions of years. The forbidden Tao is different. Although it is divided into many types, the forbidden Tao is a whole that can be perfectly linked together. It's just that the taboo Tao is too difficult to comprehend, so people split it up and choose to comprehend it one by one. For those people, each one is a taboo word, a taboo path that belongs to them. Yi Tian can also comprehend one by one taboo Tao at the beginning, reach a certain time, comprehend as a whole, and then merge with the endless Tao, thus turning into his endless forbidden Tao. In the days that followed, Yi Tian began to comprehend every taboo word, from being ignorant at the beginning to gradually gaining some insight. Yi Tian also discovered that comprehending the forbidden Tao was very beneficial for him to control the dark forbidden power. Before, although he controlled the dark taboo power, he didn't study it deeply, and the application of the dark taboo power was also in a rough state. And the dark taboo power is a completely new source power, too much worth studying and scrutinizing. It's a pity that there is too little research on the power of darkness and taboos. Even the strongest Taoist ancestors are only initially controlling the power of darkness and taboos. Others are even more hopeful to connect and touch. Naturally, there will be no systematic practice of the power of darkness and taboos system. For Yi Tian, comprehending the forbidden Tao is not helpful for a short time, but it will have a great impact on the future. Moreover, once he truly comprehends the infinite taboo, his strength will still usher in a terrifying surge. With the passage of time, the ancient world of Xuanxu has a new change almost every period of time. New forces are constantly being born, and old forces are also coming to an end. With the help of the taboo space, the strength of the Juji Legion is skyrocketing, and the strength of the human race is also improving rapidly. This day, a big thing happened. A forbidden treasure land was born in the God of War, and it was not the most common kind of forbidden treasure land. The key point is that this forbidden treasure land is a mountain range, and there are creatures with forbidden bloodlines born in the mountain range. These creatures are not forbidden creatures, but their cultivation value with forbidden bloodlines is too high. Whether these forbidden bloodline creatures are used for training into mounts, for research, or for refining medicine pills, their value is very high. In addition, some forces can even have a certain degree of certainty to transfer the forbidden blood to the strong, and can retain a trace of the forbidden blood. In the future, these powerhouses with a trace of forbidden blood will be able to be promoted to the Supreme Tao Ancestor with greater confidence. Therefore, the value of this forbidden mountain is too great. Chaos, the Pantheon. A group of Taoist ancestors headed by Zushan Taoist started a meeting here to discuss the Forbidden Mountains. I'm afraid the news will be difficult to block. It won't be long before the true ancestors of the upper and middle three-level forces will enter the real country of the God of War, and the real country of the God of War will not be able to stop it at all. I'm afraid the real country can't stop it, a Taoist ancestor said. Zushan Daozu, what can you do? The real kingdom of the God of War is my foundation. Zan Daozu, the Tower Master of the God of War Tower, said. Ling Zan Dao Ancestor, I am in chaos, and I can't enter the ancient world of Xuanshu, and there are so many Dao ancestors in the ancient world of Xuanshu. They can be forced to be born, and any 6th or 7th level Daozu can hang and beat me. Shu Tian Daozu also said helplessly. After so long, although his strength is much stronger than when he was just promoted to the 4th heavenly Dao ancestor, and he took advantage of many opportunities in the ancient world of Xuanshu, he is now a top-level 4th heavenly Dao ancestor, but it is far less than the 6th. The 7th heavenly Dao ancestor, let alone the 8th heavenly supreme Dao ancestor, is comparable. Then what about the true ancestor of myriad laws of your Zushan lineage? He is the first true ancestor of the ancient world of Xuanshu. Should he be able to block the true ancestor of other forces? Lingzan Daozu said quickly, my disciple is only one person, how can I stop so many invincible true ancestors? Moreover, once Daozu is forcibly born, my disciple is not an opponent. According to my plan, first let the true ancestors of the God of War real country be let go. The ancestors withdraw, after all, they are fighting for the Forbidden Mountain range, even if the true kingdom of the God of War is smashed, the loss will not be big if people don't die. Zhu Tianzhengguo suggested. Zushan Daozu, how many people can be evacuated now? Aren't the countless people of our God of War real kingdom going to end? Lingzan Daozu frowned. Zushan Daozu pondered for a while, and said, let's do this, try to evacuate some people first, but I will go to my disciple to see if he can keep the true kingdom of Zushan. In addition, our true ancestor also to enter the Forbidden Mountain range as much as possible, take as many treasures as you can. After all, the more forbidden treasures, the stronger our strength will be. It can only be this way. Lingzan Daozu nodded. Immediately, the people of the true God of War were mobilized, and countless people began to flee from the true kingdom of the God of War. At the same time, the birth of the Forbidden Mountain range in the God of War was leaked out. But at this time, many true ancestors of the true kingdom of God of War were frantically searching for treasures in the Forbidden Mountain range. As long as they found a treasure, they would immediately evacuate. They must not waste time or be too greedy. The real country. Yi Tian was in retreat, and after hearing about the true kingdom of the God of War, he also went out. At this time, the incarnation of Zushan Daozu just came. Master, Yi Tian said respectfully. Shu Tian Daozu did not see Yi Tian's strength and thought that Yi Tian was still the invincible true ancestor. Teacher, I hope you can help the God of War real kingdom this time, and also help us the Zushan lineage and the temples of the gods. Zushan Daozu said. Master asked me to block those forces. Yi Tian Good Money Jiao frowned, my strength can't block those forces. No, I just hope that you can restrain those forces a little and try to keep the true kingdom of the God of War. The true kingdom of the God of War is one of the top real kingdoms in the temples, sending countless geniuses to the temples every year. Once the true kingdom of the God of War is captured, if it is destroyed, the loss of the temples will be heavy. This time when the Forbidden Mountain range is born, so many strong men fight, I am afraid that the real kingdom of the God of War will be destroyed. If it is possible, can you block the Forbidden Mountain range first? Zushan Daozu said, this estimate is very difficult, other forces will not obey my arrangement, and maybe there will be a Dao ancestor coming, the disciple can only promise to delay the time as much as possible. Yi Tian thought about it and said. Yi Tian said so, and Shu Tian Daozu was speechless. Afterwards, Shu Tian Daozu asked Yi Tian to be careful and left the ancient world of Xuanshu. When Yi Tian saw Zushan Daozu leave, he couldn't help sighing, Master is completely held back by the temples of the gods. There are so many forces in the temples of the gods, and they will protect them one by one in the future, how can they protect the islands? However, since he has agreed, he will try his best to keep the true kingdom of the god of war. Don't dare to say anything else, he can still do it by delaying for some time and letting the creatures of the true kingdom of war god withdraw most of them. Chapter 11:28 The power of 1-039, S-own shocks the quartet. Second. The news of the Forbidden Mountains spread quickly, and the major forces had been investigating the Forbidden Treasure Land, so the news was quickly learned by the upper Third Heaven forces and the middle Third Heaven forces. As a result, Tianheizong, Midianzong and Wanyu Temple sent a large number of true ancestors to come. Not to be outdone, other forces have mobilized a large number of true ancestors in an attempt to compete for the opportunity of the Forbidden Mountain Range. The god of war, the Forbidden Mountains. Yi Tian belonged to the first group of true ancestors to arrive. He saw that many true ancestors had already appeared in the Forbidden Mountain Range, some of them were the true ancestors of the God of War Temple, and some were loose cultivators of the true kingdom of the God of War. They also all want to obtain forbidden treasures, so they risk their lives to find forbidden treasures. However, some people quickly held back their greed and retreated when they found a forbidden treasure, but most people were unwilling to retreat. The Forbidden Mountain Range is too big, completely in another void. Yi Tian has no way to let all the true ancestors leave the Forbidden Mountain Range. Therefore, he can only transmit his voice to the entire Forbidden Mountain Range. I am the true ancestor of all methods, and all the true ancestors have left the Forbidden Mountain Range. Otherwise, the true ancestors of the third-level powers will come, and once they fight, you will all die. Yi Tian reminded. Some true ancestors listened and quickly retreated, but there were still quite a few true ancestors who did not leave. Yi Tian didn't care about this either. He is very clear that the temples will definitely send their true ancestors to come after the event, and they will not give up the forbidden treasures at all. He did not have the Forbidden Mountain Range, but stood outside the Forbidden Mountain Range, waiting for the arrival of the true ancestors of other forces. The first ones to arrive were the true ancestors of the Zixia sect. They were relatively close to the god of war, and they were the first to receive the news, so they arrived quickly. Z387 The Invincible True Ancestors, Kai True Ancestor and Zgang True Ancestor, led a large number of true ancestors to descend, but were blocked by Yi Tian alone. True Ancestor of 10,000 Laws, if you don't enter the Forbidden Mountain Range, what can you do to stop us? True Ancestor Zgang said with some dread. I'm not blocking you, Yi Tian said solemnly. I just don't want anyone to destroy the real kingdom of the god of war. You can enter the Forbidden Mountain Range, but even if you are fighting, you can only do it in the Forbidden Mountain Range. God of War is really fighting in the country, don't blame me. True Ancestor of 10,000 Laws, who do you think you are? Can you still manage all the true ancestors? True Ancestor Zgang sneered. How is it possible to stop the true ancestor from fighting? For example, if a true ancestor obtained a treasure and escaped from the Forbidden Mountain Range, and others chased and killed it, wouldn't that stop it? When the Forbidden Mountain Range came into being, not only was the battle within the Forbidden Mountain Range serious, but even the war god real kingdom outside the Forbidden Mountain Range was bound to be incomparably serious. Countless true ancestors are fighting, and it is simply not that an invincible true ancestor in Yitian district can stop it. Moreover, if there are really taboo treasures born, or even some top-level and precious taboo strange objects are born, I am afraid that it will cause the Taoist ancestors to forcibly take action. A mere invincible true ancestor, it is not bad to be able to save his life, and dare to threaten other forces. Don't believe me, try it. Yi Tian threatened. At this moment, some true ancestors flew out from the Forbidden Mountains. They were about to leave the Forbidden Mountains, but someone didn't want them to leave. Swish! A Xeon primogenitor attacked an elite primogenitor, trying to kill the elite primogenitor in order to gain access to the forbidden wonders on him. In the view of this supreme ancestor, from the Forbidden Mountains, he must have obtained forbidden strange objects. That is the supreme true ancestor of the 8th Heavenly Force Heavenly Sword sect, do you dare to kill it? Zhigang true ancestor saw it and said with a smile. Yi Tian's eyes narrowed, a forbidden spear appeared in his hand, and instantly crossed a long distance, directly nailing the hands on Supreme True Ancestor into the void. This blow directly kills the opponent. Instantly killing a Supreme Power Ancestor, Zhigang and Zichi were dumbfounded. How do you feel that his strength is stronger than before? The two wondered. Impossible, he himself is already the ultimate invincible ancestor, and there is no way to improve it, it must be an illusion, or it is caused by his full effort. Effect. Whoever dares to take action in the real country of God of War will have to die. Yi Tian's voice filled the surroundings, shaking the endless void. He knew that many true ancestors had already come, and they were hiding in the surrounding area. They were not in a hurry to enter the Forbidden Mountain range. There are also quite a few of the true ancestors who are fighting to kill the true ancestors of the God of War. After all, the true ancestors of the true kingdom of the God of War are very weak, and they can easily kill them to obtain the forbidden treasures on them, which can save a lot of money, time. Yi Tian's arrogance caused the anger of many true ancestors, but ordinary true ancestors did not dare to provoke Yi Tian. After all, Yi Tian had just killed a supreme true ancestor. True ancestor of 10,000 laws, you dare to kill the supreme true ancestor of our heavenly sword sect. The true ancestors of Tiandaomen came. The person who opened the mouth was Venerable Windblade, a top-notch invincible true ancestor. This time, Tiandaomen has descended on many true ancestors. Among them, there are 2 invincible true ancestors, as many as dozens of Xian true ancestors, almost half of the power of Tiandaomen. With so many true ancestors facing Yi Tian, an invincible true ancestor, they naturally do not hesitate. No matter how powerful Yi Tian is, can he still be stronger than so many of their true ancestors? The Wind Blade, do you dare to give it a try? Yi Tian threatened. Okay, what shall I do? The High Wind Swordsman saw a true ancestor from a distance from the Forbidden Mountain range, breaking through the void and killing the true ancestor. At this time, Yi Tian also made his move, intercepting the High Wind Saber at a very fast speed, and immediately a 1000 Dao technique Wansha true spear penetrated in an instant. Yi Tian's speed was too fast, almost surpassing the reaction limit of Gale Blade. Puff! Wan Shazan, a terrifying force erupted out of the body of the Door Master. The expression of Zun Daofeng changed greatly, and he used an escape technique to quickly retreat. Returning to Tiandaomen, he looked at his body, and there was a big hole in his chest. Not only that, his vitality was cut off by 10%. This is almost a serious injury. One blow hurts me, how is this possible? The Wind Sword Master said in fear. In fact, Yi Tian could kill him in one move, but he didn't do that. If he kills the High Wind Blade Master, I am afraid that the Heavenly Sword Sect will never die with him, and even lead to the Taoist ancestor of the Heavenly Sword Sect. At that time, it would be very difficult for him to protect the true kingdom of the God of War. What he wants now is shock and deterrence. As long as these true ancestors are not fighting frantically in the true God of War kingdom, only small-scale battles will not destroy the true kingdom of the God of War. In that case, his goal would be accomplished. Otherwise, there is no one to deter the quartet, and they don't care about anything when they fight. In that case, the real kingdom of the God of War will really be finished. Son of the Wind Blade, I really can't compete with your heavenly sword sect alone, but as long as I pay the price, I will be sure to kill you, do you believe it? Yi Tian threatened. Quote, the Wind Blade was silent. Before, he might not believe it, but Yi Tian's shot just now made him believe it. Yi Tian's speed was too fast, he couldn't react at all, even if he prepared in advance, he couldn't avoid Yi Tian's attack. Moreover, Yi Tian's attack was too terrifying, as if it broke the limit of the invincible true ancestor, but it didn't really break it. This is the most powerful and terrifying invincible ancestor he has ever seen. Okay, I'll give you this face, the disciples of Tiandaomen will not be fighting in the real kingdom of the God of War for the time being. The Taoist High Wind assured. On the other side, the true ancestor of Zgang of Xixia's sect also quickly said, I also promise not to attack, not to destroy the true kingdom of God of War. Obviously, the true ancestors of Xixia's sect were also afraid. Shish! The true ancestors of Tiandaomen and Xixia's sect entered the Forbidden Mountains one by one, and did not intercept the true ancestors. The true ancestors of some other forces also saw the power of Yi Tian and entered the Forbidden Mountain range in a low-key manner. The Forbidden Mountain range seems to be on the other side of the world, and it can withstand the aftermath of the battle. As long as it is not too powerful, it is difficult to affect the real kingdom of the God of War. Therefore, Yi Tian doesn't care about the situation inside. He only guards outside the Forbidden Mountain range, and delays time with the creatures of the true God of War, and let these creatures withdraw. Otherwise, once the doomsday scene of the true kingdom of Konjac is staged, all the people of the true kingdom of the God of War will die. Time passed little by little, and the great forces came one after another, and they entered the Forbidden Mountain range one after another. The knitting groups of Mi Tianzong, Tianheizong, and Wanyu Temple also came, and there was no conflict with Yi Tian, perhaps it was unnecessary. It has to be said that Yi Tian temporarily deterred all the forces with his own power, and all the true ancestors who dared to make trouble were all killed by him. Even 4 or 5 invincible true ancestors were not convinced, and were suppressed by his own power, completely deterring the quartet, and no one dared to make trouble again. But Yi Tian knew very well that once he reached the later stage, he couldn't control so many true ancestors, and the battle would still break out. But there is no way, he can only delay time like this. In addition, Yi Tian copied a body and entered the Forbidden Mountain Range as the Juji general. He also went to collect the resources of the Forbidden Mountain Range and hunted the forbidden bloodline creatures. After all, it is impossible for him not to collect forbidden treasures by himself in order to protect the true kingdom of the God of War. In this way, the time passed day by day, and many true ancestors of the Temple of God helped, and soon the creatures of the true kingdom of the God of War were moved to other true kingdoms one by one. Of course, there are some people who are unwilling to leave, and the temples of the gods will not forcibly drive them away. After 7 days, the migration task was basically completed. God of War True Kingdom, Headquarters. The former Yunzi goddess, the current Yunzi true ancestor is still here. Master, it's time to leave. A servant of the true ancestor of Yunzi said. No, I'm going to enter the Forbidden Mountain Range. Yunzi Junzu murmured. What? The servants were shocked and quickly persuaded the true ancestor of Yunzi. Tabu Strong True One entered that and although Yunzi goddess has a lot of opportunities recently and has amazing adventures, she has only entered the ranks of the top true ancestors. It is too dangerous to enter the Forbidden Mountain Range with the strength of the top true ancestor, and you will fall if you don't mind. This time, the true ancestors of the temples who dared to enter the Forbidden Mountain Range were all true ancestors who had not progressed for a long time and had exhausted their potential, and only dared to fight for their lives. And the true ancestor of Yunzi has great potential, and he is even expected to be the true ancestor of the strongest, so there is no need to fight for his life. Don't worry about it, I've made up my mind. True ancestor Yunzi said coldly. Immediately, she tore the void and left, heading to the Forbidden Mountains. Chapter 1129 The Forbidden Dao Stone Mineral Vein. 3rd. Forbidden Mountains. Yi Tian walks here with a duplicate body. The mountains here are very large, and the distance between each peak is extremely far. In terms of area, the Forbidden Mountain Range is similar to the inner space of the Forbidden Ancient Well. Moreover, there is more vitality here, but there is not much vitality inside the Forbidden Ancient Well. For the forces, forbidden treasures like the Forbidden Mountains are more suitable for development. I am afraid that the real country of the God of War will not be able to keep it completely. Even if the God of War is not smashed, other forces cannot allow the Forbidden Mountain Range to fall into the hands of the real country of the God of War, and they will definitely find a way to occupy it. Yi Tian thought to himself. Since they have occupied the Forbidden Mountains, how could those forces let go of the God of War Zhen Guo? Forget it, I can't handle that much, I'll still look for forbidden treasures. He is also very short of forbidden treasures now. Since he stepped into the Supreme True Ancestor, his cultivation speed has greatly increased, and the tempering effect of the forbidden body has far exceeded that, so the speed of consuming forbidden strange objects is too fast. For example, the forbidden black lotus has been consumed by him, and he has also used up several low-level forbidden strange objects to assist cultivation. At this rate, it will not take long for him to exhaust all the forbidden wonders. Therefore, he urgently needs to replenish the forbidden wonders. Yi Tian's speed is very fast, so the speed of looking for taboo strange objects is also very fast. Others find taboo strange objects, and they can take them immediately when they encounter taboo strange objects that are not dangerous, but if they encounter taboos that contain great terror, strange things are more troublesome. Generally weak creatures cannot induce great terror, so many true ancestors will seize other true ancestors or catch some forbidden bloodline creatures to induce great terror, thus taking away the forbidden wonders. But Yi Tian didn't need it. He directly used the strength of the Supreme True Ancestor to fight against the Great Terror, and easily took away the forbidden strange objects, so the speed of collecting the forbidden strange objects was many times faster than others. In the past few days, he has collected hundreds of forbidden items. It's a pity that the level of forbidden strange objects here is not as good as the forbidden strange objects in the ancient Forbidden Well, and they are basically some low-level or medium-level forbidden strange objects. For such a long time, Yi Tian has not even encountered a high-level taboo strange object. However, he captured some forbidden bloodline creatures and returned to study them. This day, Yi Tian sensed a familiar aura, and immediately looked over. Hand over that forbidden strange object, or you will die. A supreme ancestor was chasing after him, and Yunzi's face was very pale, and he felt that the figure was getting closer and closer, and the breath of despair filled the air. There are so many forbidden wonders in the Forbidden Mountains, why do you have to hunt me down? True Ancestor Yunzi asked. Ha ha ha, of course you are weak. The Supreme True Ancestor smiled and said, you are just a mere top true ancestor, and you are alone. If I kill you, won't I get all of your body? The forbidden strange object. Besides, the forbidden strange object you just obtained seems to be very extraordinary, maybe it is a high-level forbidden strange object. 1. The Xeon true ancestor guessed right, that forbidden strange object is a high-level forbidden strange object, but it is of great help to the Yunzi true ancestor and can greatly improve her strength. Therefore, she did not want to lose this forbidden wonder. Moreover, even if she handed over this forbidden strange object, the supreme true ancestor would not let her go, and would still kill her. I think too highly of my strength. True ancestor Yunzi said with a wry smile. In the God of War kingdom, her strength has almost surpassed that of others, and she has had a great opportunity to be promoted to the top ancestor, stronger than many ancient ancestors of the God of War tower. Today, although she is the top true ancestor, she is far from being the opponent of the super strong true ancestor, and the super strong true ancestor who chased her this time is not the weakest kind of super strong true ancestor. Boom! A Taoist attack bombarded her body, directly knocking her into a mountain. This blow made her injury even worse, and she lost hope of escaping. Escape? Why don't you run away? How dare a top true ancestor run away in front of my bloody true ancestor? 1. Blood Slaughter true ancestor said coldly. I saw the true ancestor of Blood Slaughter holding a trident and about to kill the true ancestor Yunzi, when suddenly a voice came. True ancestor of Blood Slaughter, you are not too timid to dare to hurt my friend. As soon as the words fell, a man wearing a mask and a shirt appeared not far from the bloody true ancestor. Seeing this man, Blood Slaughter's true ancestor's pupils shrank, and he said in fear, General Juji. High-function Juji General, the ultimate powerhouse of the invincible true ancestor, that is truly invincible at the true ancestor level. General Juji, this person is your friend. If I knew this was the case, how dare I do it? I'll leave now, leave. The true ancestor of Blood Slaughter turned around and was about to leave. However, go, if you can stop my move, you can leave. Yi Tian said, and then shot. Breakthrough. The ultimate level of the Little Thousand Dao technique seems to be weak, but Yi Tian's strength is too strong, causing the power of this Little Thousand Dao technique to reach an incomparably terrifying level. Click. The void around the Blood Slaughter true ancestor solidified and shattered violently. Do not. The true ancestor of Blood Slaughter was extremely frightened, but he could only watch his body slowly shatter into nothingness with the surrounding void, and even his consciousness gradually disappeared. With just one small thousand Dao technique, the true ancestor of Blood Slaughter was easily obliterated by Yi Tian. Yunzi Junzu, who was seriously injured not far away, was stunned when he saw this scene. Good. Strong. True ancestor Yunzi said in his heart. She can understand the power of true ancestor blood, and if Yi Tian comes, she is probably already a guest at this moment. And such a powerful blood-slaughtering ancestor was killed by Yi Tian in seconds, which shows how powerful Yi Tian is. Thank you, General Juji. Yunzi Junzu stood up and thanked him. It's nothing, you are familiar with the true ancestor of Wanfa, I saw it, it should save you. Your strength is too weak, leave here quickly. Yi Tian left after speaking. True ancestor Yunzi looked at Yi Tian's leaving back, and murmured, isn't General Juji really Yi Tian? The outside world said that General Juji and Yi Tian were two people. She had seen Yi Tian from a distance outside the Forbidden Mountain Range before, and the other party was still guarding outside the Forbidden Mountain Range. For flowers. But for some unknown reason, she always felt that Yi Tian and General Juji were the same person, but unfortunately there was no evidence, and other people would not believe it. Saving Yunzi Junzu was just a small episode. He had cooperated with Yunzi Junzu several times, and he was considered a friend. When he saw that Yunzi Junzu was in danger, he would naturally go to save her. With the passage of time, the true ancestors of the Forbidden Mountain Range became more and more, but the forbidden treasures became less and less, and the forbidden bloodline creatures were almost taken away. Under such circumstances, fighting became more frequent. Many true ancestors began to escape from the Forbidden Mountain Range, while other true ancestors were chasing them, but at the beginning, Yi Tian was still able to hold on to the situation. For all true ancestors who fought outside the Forbidden Mountain Range, he killed them one by one without mercy. But gradually, more and more people were fighting, and even many invincible ancestors also started. Under such circumstances, Yi Tian had no choice but to give up. After all, he had already procrastinated for a long time, otherwise, the first day the Forbidden Mountain Range was discovered, the entire God of War Kingdom would have been devastated. 0. Boom! In the void of the god of war True Kingdom, a large number of true ancestors are fighting. Everyone wants to run away with forbidden treasures, but how can other true ancestors who have not obtained any forbidden treasures be reconciled? Under the many battles, the stars and the starry sky continents were smashed by the aftermath, and countless space cracks spread throughout the void of the god of war. In any forbidden treasure land, there is a treasure that can definitely be called a rare treasure. It may be a special top-level strange object, or it may be a forbidden treasure. A place like the Forbidden Mountains is naturally impossible. This day, the most precious treasure in the Forbidden Mountains has been discovered. In the Forbidden Mountains, Yi Tian got the news and hurried over. I didn't expect the Forbidden Dao stone veins to appear in the Forbidden Mountains. 1 inch. Yi Tian was surprised. The Forbidden Dao stone is not an ordinary treasure, it is equivalent to some spiritual stones, divine stones and other energy ores in the realm, but the level is much higher. It is rumored that the Forbidden Dao stone is the trading currency that exists above the Supreme Dao ancestor, and even the domain ancestors trade with the Forbidden Dao stone. The Forbidden Dao stone is hard to find. In addition to the birth of the Forbidden Realm, there are only the initial realm and the taboo continent in the Dark Forbidden Realm. For example, after some realms are broken, the fragments fall into the Dark Forbidden Domain. After a long period of evolution, some continental fragments will gradually become taboo continents, and there is a small probability that taboo stones will be born on the forbidden continents. But this possibility is too low, and few people dare to enter the Dark Forbidden area to find the Forbidden Stone. Although some domain ancestors would enter the Dark Forbidden area, they did not dare to go too deep. Therefore, if some Forbidden Dao stones were born in the Dark Forbidden area near a realm, they would be found and excavated by the domain ancestors and Dao ancestors. Because of this, the Forbidden Dao stone is very rare, the value is very high, and it is the top currency. But now, the Forbidden Mountains have Forbidden Dao stones. Although it is not clear how the output is, it also means that the value of the Forbidden Mountains has increased many times. Chapter 1130 There are treasures coming. Fourth more. Tianheizong. Several Xian true ancestors awakened their consciousness and were discussing about the Forbidden Dao stone veins in the Forbidden Mountains. The Forbidden Dao stone or vein is of great value. Compared to the unknown forbidden treasure, this is a visible benefit. Generally speaking, the forbidden treasure is relatively small, and a piece of Forbidden Dao stone is worth at most 100,000 Forbidden Dao stones. Should we forcefully take over that Forbidden Dao stone vein? The price of our shot is too high, and we don't make it unless we have to. Besides, we still don't know the output of the Forbidden Dao stone veins. If there are only 100,000 Forbidden Dao stones, then there is no need to shoot. At least there are hundreds of them. More than 10,000 Forbidden Dao stone veins are worthy of our strong Dao ancestors forcibly shot. It is estimated that there is no million production. After all, the taboo world has not yet been born, and there is only this sign. Under such circumstances, how can a taboo treasure land produce a million production taboo stone veins? 1. If the output is not much, then let those 7 or 8-fold heavenly Dao ancestors take action. They also lack taboo Dao stones, and it is estimated that they can't help but take action. Not only the 403 Supreme Dao Patriarchs of Tianai sector discussing, but also the Supreme Dao Patriarchs of other forces, but without enough benefits and interests, these Supreme Dao Patriarchs will not take action at all. After all, when the Supreme Dao ancestor shot at this time, he also needed to contend with the rules of the ancient world of Xuanxu, his strength would be much lower, and there was a risk of falling. Unless it is a real big chance, they will do it. For example, the taboo treasure that was born last time, although they were also a little excited, but they did not shoot. Same this time, at the heart of the Forbidden Mountains. With the discovery of the Forbidden Dao stone veins, the battle here became a mass of courage, and a large number of true ancestors fought here to snatch the Forbidden Dao stone. For them, taking a Forbidden Dao stone will make a lot of money. It is a pity that the Forbidden Dao stone is difficult to excavate, because the Forbidden Dao stone or vein is very hard, and it is like a Taoist tool. Of course, there are some taboo stones that are easier to mine, but there are too few such taboo stones. Some true ancestors successfully excavated a Forbidden Dao stone, and they were targeted by other true ancestors, and the fight began like this. Soon, the true ancestors of the great forces came here, and they did not fight for the first time, but to investigate the output of this taboo stone vein, which was also the task given to them from above. Each faction has a relative method of detecting the yield, so they are exploring one by one. After a while, they found out. Nearly 500,000 Forbidden Dao stones. Many great forces were amazed. This is not a small ore vein, so many forbidden Tao stones, the value is too great, enough to arouse the greed of the seventh heavenly Tao ancestor. If there is a faction occupying this taboo stone vein, it is enough to make the entire force develop rapidly. Moreover, for the true ancestors, the forbidden Tao stone also has an amazing effect, that is, to temper the power of the true ancestor, and use the stimulation of the forbidden Tao stone's energy to allow the true ancestor's true ancestor power to grow rapidly and continuously. Be pure. A forbidden Tao stone is enough for a true ancestor to cultivate for a long time. Although it is a waste to use the forbidden Tao stone for true ancestors, any true ancestor will not give up the opportunity to quickly improve his strength. The output of 50 forbidden Tao stones is already very good. The news was also passed on to the Tao ancestors behind the major forces, and each Tao ancestor began to move. Chaos, in the pantheon. Zushan Daozu also learned the news of the forbidden Tao stone, and he was very eager. Forbidden Tao stone is not only the currency of the supreme Tao ancestor, the invincible Tao ancestor, the half-step domain ancestor, and the domain ancestors, but also an important strategic resource, and it is also of great value to a quadruple heaven Tao ancestor like him. If there are enough forbidden Tao stones, he can quickly raise the cultivation base to the extreme of the fourth heavenly Tao ancestor, omitting the time to accumulate cultivation base. Moreover, the power of his Taoist ancestors is very impure, which is also a common problem of Taoist ancestors in the Taoist realm. After all, although the Taoist ancestors' method passed down by the Taoist ancestors has been perfected, it is still far from the realm of the gods. Even though they are improving now, there are still big flaws. If there are enough forbidden Tao stones, they can continuously temper their Tao ancestors' power, thus strengthening the foundation and becoming stronger. Only, the fourth level Taoist ancestor is too weak. If I forcefully descend into the ancient world of Xuanxu, I won't be able to exert much strength at all. Zushan Taozu sighed. He suddenly thought of his disciple Yi Tian, but shook his head again. He didn't have the face to let his disciples snatch the taboo stone and give it to him, and Yi Tian also needed the taboo stone, why should he give it to him? The order goes on, let those who are willing to snatch the forbidden stone at all costs. If anyone presents the forbidden stone, we will welcome him out of the ancient world of Xuanxu, and we will do our best to raise his cultivation to the peak of the avenue, and then give him the treasure of the Tao, help him to become a Taoist ancestor. Zushan Tao ancestor order Tao. He believes that there are definitely many people who are greedy in the many true ancestors of the major real countries. Even if countless true ancestors have fallen, as long as they can take away some taboo stones, it will not be a loss. All of a sudden, countless true ancestors from the ancient Xuanxu world poured into the Forbidden Mountains, the purpose of which was the forbidden Tao stone. It is conceivable that once so many true ancestors fight, the real kingdom of the god of war will be shattered in an instant. Yi Tian also came to the forbidden Tao stone at this time, but he did not make a move. At present, there is no need to make a move. Even if he kills the true ancestors who have obtained the forbidden Tao stone, he will only obtain a few forbidden Tao stones at most. And it will also become one of the targets of other true ancestors. Even if he is invincible, other people dare not attack him, but it is not good to cause others to target. Therefore, he hid there, waiting silently. Half an hour has passed. Above the forbidden Tao stone vein, a figure tore the space and walked out, accompanied by the sound of the rule's chain. Roll. This cold voice swept across the city, and a gust of wind blew away a famous true ancestor. This shows how powerful and terrifying this man is. Daozu. Many true ancestors are extremely fearful. Some people also recognized it. This person is a very powerful 7th-level Taoist ancestor, ancient-style Taoist. Ancient-style Daozu came from an 8-layered power, Hurricane Mountain. The reputation of Hurricane Mountain is not small, and it is often compared with Haifeng Mountain, but in the eyes of many small forces, Haifeng Mountain is not strong, and Hurricane Mountain is strong. Of course, this is something people don't understand, but there's no denying the power of Hurricane Mountain. The ancient Taoist ancestors of the 7th-layer Tiandao ancestors are enough to exert the strength of the top 3rd-layer Tiandaozu, and they can easily destroy the true ancestors, and the 3 dare to approach. Sudden, Ji Yufeng Daozu slammed it down with a palm, and the earthquake cracked, directly bombarding the forbidden Tao stone vein. Even though the forbidden Tao stone ore vein is very strong, a piece of the ore vein fragment was collapsed by the ancient wind Daozu, and this ore vein fragment has at least nearly 10,000 forbidden Tao stones. I saw Gufeng Daozu waved his sleeves and displayed a Tao technique similar to the universe in his sleeves. He wanted to take away this ore fragment. As for how to dig the forbidden Tao stone, he could go back and dig slowly. However, he wanted to take away this ore vein fragment, but someone did not allow it. Another seventh heavenly Tao ancestor appeared and slammed hard on the ore vein fragment. I saw that the ore vein fragment collapsed and flew out and flew to Etienne at an extremely fast speed. This fragment is equivalent to nearly 10,000 forbidden Tao stones, and Etienne will naturally not let it go. Immediately, Etienne used the Black Wind Territory Boundary technique, directly covering the 5.8 shard, absorbing it into his own inner universe. Today, the universe in Etienne's body is already equivalent to the top universe, which is mainly due to Ouyang Jor giving him the second level of the world promotion secret technique equaling heaven. The second level requires a small level of taboo body to cultivate, and he has just achieved a small level. Once the second level is complete, the inner world will be comparable to the realm of the quasi-Tao. Because the inner world is much stronger, the effect of the Black Wind domain technique is naturally stronger, and the speed of absorbing objects is super fast, so the piece of taboo stone vein fragment was successfully inhaled into the inner universe in an instant. This scene happened too fast. The ancient-style Daozu was stunned, the 7th level heavenly Daozu who stopped the ancient-style Daozu was also stunned, and even the Taoist ancestors who spied in secret and didn't take action immediately were dumbfounded. Their vigilance targets have always been other Taoist ancestors, never caring about the true ancestors. Therefore, they failed to react successfully, causing the nearly 10,000 taboo stones to fall into Etienne's hands. True ancestor of 10,000 laws, hand over the forbidden Tao stone, or I will kill you. Ancient-style Daozu threatened. Chapter 1131 Expose your strength and fight against the 7th heavenly Tao ancestor. First update. The breath of a Taoist ancestor locked Etienne. This time Etienne undoubtedly angered the public. For the Taoist ancestors, this is a chance for them to compete. Those true ancestors are good to pick up a few taboo stones, how dare they compete with them for taboo stones? They paid a huge price and forcibly came here under the rules of the ancient world of Xuanshu, just to compete for the forbidden stone, whoever competes with them is the enemy. And Etienne, the true ancestor who dared to snatch, was not only an enemy but also provoked them. What if you don't pay? Etienne said coldly. Immediately, the audience was dumbfounded. Many true ancestors were shocked and felt that Etienne's courage was too great to dare to provoke the 7th heavenly Tao ancestor. Even if the 7th heavenly Tao ancestor could not exert his strength, it would be very easy to kill an invincible true ancestor. General Juji, throw the forbidden stone out. General Zusha also came here, and quickly reminded him through voice transmission. He doesn't think Etienne can compete with a 7th level Taoist ancestor. Once he angers the 7th level Taoist ancestor, the consequences will be disastrous. Moreover, there is more than one 7th heavenly Tao ancestor here. Once all of them are aimed at Etienne, even if Etienne has many life-saving things, I am afraid that he will not be able to survive. Go to hell. Ancient-style Daozu shot. The other Taoist ancestors did not stop him this time. After all, even if the ancient Taoist ancestors killed Etienne, as long as they didn't steal the forbidden Taoist stone, it wouldn't matter. But if Gufeng Daozu wanted to snatch the forbidden Tao stone, they would really stop it. Daoshu, break the wind. Boom, a gust of wind blew in the void, and 29 peaks turned into nothingness under these gusts. This is a Tao technique, not an ordinary wind. It contains a terrifying corrosive effect. An ordinary invincible Tao ancestor who is hit with the wind-breaking Tao technique will be melted away directly. Moreover, it is difficult to dodge the Taoist Pofeng, covering a large area. Some true ancestors are relatively close, and they are directly enveloped by the Pofeng, which instantly turns into nothingness. However, after Etienne cast the Great Wilderness Dharma body, the Daoshu Pofeng did not help him. How is that possible? Ji Yufeng Daozu was shocked. I am a Daqian Tao technique, how can you resist it? Not only the ancient Taoist ancestors couldn't believe it, but other Taoist ancestors were also surprised. They all understand the strength of the ancient Taoist ancestors, and the invincible true ancestors can't resist them when they use the Taoist technique to break the wind. They can only rely on life-saving things to survive. But Etienne didn't use the life-saving thing, but abruptly tested a defensive Tao technique to resist. The strength of General Juji, General Zusha, General Modian, and General Fengxing were all shocked. They thought that they could not resist the wind-breaking Tao technique of ancient Feng Daozu. At this time, Etienne opened his mouth and said, Ancient Feng Daozu, this is your strength. It's almost as if the wind tickles me. If you want to kill me, you probably think too much. Etienne walked step by step, ignoring the wind-breaking Tao technique. Gufeng Daozu was angry and performed another Tao technique, hurricane technique. Boom, The tornado swept the world, and the terrifying rules enveloped the surroundings, crushing everything, and all the items involved in this hurricane technique would be smashed. The hurricane technique is one of the famous Great Thousand Tao techniques of Hurricane Mountain, and it is famous in the sea world. In terms of power, the hurricane technique is several times stronger than the wind-breaking technique, and the ancient wind Daozu also has deep knowledge in the hurricane technique, and has already cultivated to the realm of minor achievement. How terrifying is the Dakian Daoshu of the Shaocheng realm, and it was displayed by the ancient-style Daozu. Even the top third-level Tian Daozu would not dare to force his hurricane. It seems that the strength must be exposed. Yi Tian muttered. But for nearly 10,000 taboo stones, he felt that it was necessary to reveal his strength, and the price was worth paying. Boom! Yi Tian's breath burst out suddenly, no longer hiding his strength. Shaocheng's forbidden body, consummation great wilderness dharma body. At the same time, Yi Tian's true ancestor's power and physical strength, which far surpassed the true ancestor's ultimate limit, also erupted, and it didn't look like the true ancestor. I saw that Yi Tian displayed the Wansha true spear of perfection, and even held the Wansha true spear, slammed away with terrifying physical strength, and fought against the ancient Taoist ancestors. Shout out! The hurricane technique was forcibly torn apart by Yi Tian, and the Wansha true spear with the power of darkness and taboo bombarded a Taoist armor on Gufeng Daozu's body. Boom! The Taoist armor was cracked, and the ancient-style Taoist was also hit and flew out by Yi Tian. At this moment, no one in the heavens and the earth was shocked, and no one was astonished. The invincible true ancestors such as the Blood Evil General, the Motian General, the Zichi true ancestor, the Zhigang true ancestor, the Bupo true ancestor, etc., were all dumbfounded, as if everything was an illusion. At this moment, how terrifying the strength Yi Tian showed, far surpassed the true ancestors' extreme. If they faced Yi Tian, I am afraid that they would be severely injured or even beheaded in an instant. Many people don't know the supreme true ancestor, so they don't know what this means, but they also know that today's Xuanxu ancient world cannot give birth to a new Tao ancestor, so they are very surprised why Yi Tian's strength is so terrifying. At this time, a Taoist ancestor finally couldn't help exclaiming, "Supreme true ancestor, impossible, how can you become the supreme true ancestor?" Ancient-style Daozu's expression also changed greatly, and his eyes were full of fear and jealousy. Supreme true ancestor, as long as he does not fall, he will almost certainly become the 9 heavenly Tao ancestor in the future, and even has a great concept of becoming a half-step domain ancestor. In the past, he was also the supreme truth one, only just before, only then did he know the supreme truth. Even if he is the 7th heavenly Tao ancestor, he is very envious of the supreme true ancestor, that is the true peerless genius, the existence of the heaven-defying existence that overwhelms the whole world. It is rumored that the 3 palace masters of the Tiandi Palace were once the supreme true ancestors, but they were not qualified to know them. Today, it was the first time he saw the supreme true ancestor, but he did not expect it to be an enemy. What is the supreme true ancestor? Many true ancestors are puzzled, and even the invincible true ancestors are confused and do not quite understand the meaning of the supreme true ancestor. I didn't expect General Juji to become the supreme true ancestor. The bloody general said in surprise. General Modian and General Fengxing on the side asked suspiciously, "General Zusha, do you know what the supreme true ancestor is?" General Zusha said, "I know, I once chatted with Lord Wind King once, and heard the secrets about the supreme true ancestor. The invincible true ancestor is not the limit, and there is a level of combat power on it, which is the supreme true ancestor. The 5 true ancestor standards we usually talk about are actually not recognized by the Taoist ancestors, but the supreme true ancestors are recognized by the true ancestors. Only by breaking the shackles of the invincible true ancestors and giving birth to the supreme Taoist source as a supreme leader. True ancestor. The supreme Tao source of the supreme true ancestor can continuously generate the power of the source, so the source of the supreme true ancestor will never be exhausted, and it is difficult to be injured by the source. Moreover, the supreme true ancestor can cultivate those legendary forbidden art as easy as cultivating ordinary exercises. If the supreme true ancestor has just broken through, his strength is not very scary. But when the supreme true ancestor has practiced the forbidden art, and really grows up, killing the invincible true ancestor is just like playing. After General Zusha said this, General Modian and General Fengxing suddenly knew what happened to the supreme true ancestor, and there was a desire in their hearts. You don't want to break through the supreme true ancestor, do you think it's just you? For a long time, so many heaven-defying geniuses have tried to attack the supreme true ancestor, and even the 9 heavens forces have tried to cultivate a supreme true ancestor, but they all failed. It is too difficult to attack the supreme true ancestor. The blood evil general sighed. Once upon a time, he also sent a peak master to invite Yi Tian to become a peak master, but he didn't expect how long ago, Yi Tian has become the supreme true ancestor. That's right, he is one of the few people who know that Yi Tian is the general of Juji, but he didn't reveal the news, making the outside world think that the general of Juji is the general of Juju 403, and the true ancestor of Wanfa is the true master of Wanfa. Zhu, it is better to have this misunderstanding. Although he didn't know how Yi Tian had two bodies, he didn't want to investigate. Now, he doesn't dare to investigate. According to the secret that the Wind King once said, once he becomes the supreme true ancestor, he will be a heavenly general of Haifeng Mountain. In the future, we will call Juji General the Juji Heavenly General. His status is not under a heavenly king. The blood evil general said. The other side, Yi Tian fought with Gufeng Daozu, relying on Xiaocheng's forbidden body. He could ignore part of Gufeng Daozu's damage, but Gufeng Daozu couldn't ignore Yi Tian's attack. With the beginning of the battle, Gufeng Daozu began to be at a disadvantage, because the rules of the ancient world of Xuanshu kept suppressing him, constantly hurting him, coupled with Yi Tian's attack, which caused his injury to aggravate, and his strength became weaker and weaker. If the battle continues like this, it won't be long before he can beat Yi Tian. And the other side, other Taoist ancestors didn't want to waste time and began to dig other forbidden Taoist stones. After all, they don't have much time to come out. If the time is delayed and they are suppressed by the ancient world of Xuanshu, it will be a big loss. A Taoist ancestor appeared, directly tore the forbidden Taoist ore veins apart, and took away a piece of the ore vein fragments. In order to snatch these ore fragments, the Taoist ancestors also fought frantically. As for the true ancestors, they snatch the forbidden Tao stones that have collapsed. If you are lucky, you can also snatch a forbidden Tao stone. If you are unlucky, you will be killed directly in battle. Can be suddenly. An unexpected mutation, the core of the forbidden Tao stone vein was cut off, revealing a green aura, attracting the attention of all Tao ancestors. Even Yi Tian and Gufeng Daozu who were in the battle stopped fighting and looked at the crack in the core of the forbidden Tao stone vein. Chapter 1132 Taboo Mother Stone. Second, quote. Yi Tian's expression changed, and his eyes were full of shock. And the ancient-style Daozu no longer stared at Yi Tian, but stared at the crack, full of endless greed. Forbidden Mother Stone. My God, such a forbidden Tao stone vein actually gave birth to a forbidden Mother Stone. Ancient-style Daozu couldn't help but exclaimed. Yi Tian also knew a little about the forbidden Mother Stone. After all, during this time, he also knew as much as possible some forbidden strange objects and forbidden treasures, and also tried to understand various secrets. Especially after becoming the heavenly general of Haifeng Mountain, his authority has been improved a lot, and he has also learned many secrets from the various bookstores of Haifeng Mountain, including the records of the Forbidden Mother Stone. Taboo Mother Stones were born from forbidden Tao stone veins, but this possibility is very low. It does not mean that large forbidden Tao stone veins will give birth to forbidden Mother Stones, and small forbidden Tao stone veins cannot give birth to forbidden Mother Stones. In fact, the birth of the taboo Mother Stone has nothing to do with the size of the ore vein of the taboo stone. It is a treasure with a very small probability of birth, and it can also be regarded as a taboo treasure, and it is a medium forbidden treasure. The forbidden Mother Stone can be called the omnipotent treasure. It can give the ancestors of the dark forbidden power, can repair the original injury, can temper the physique, purify the power of the ancestor, and can also be used to create forbidden weapons. More importantly, it can help the strongest Daozu to attack the invincible Daozu's combat power. The Supreme Taoist masters the power of darkness and taboos, and basically masters the Supreme Tao. The biggest difference between the invincible Daozu and the Supreme Daozu is that they have reached the end of a road, so they can be called invincible. For example, if Yi Tian has reached the end of the endless Tao, it will lead to qualitative changes, thus stepping into the realm of the invincible Tao ancestor. If Yi Tian has not reached the end of a Tao, he will still not be considered an invincible Tao ancestor by competing with the invincible Tao ancestor in other ways, can only be regarded as the strongest Tao ancestor comparable to the invincible Tao ancestor. Of course, if you master the taboo Tao, it will be different, and this rule will be invalid, because the taboo Tao is above other Tao, which is a special case. The biggest effect of the taboo Mother Stone is to raise the origin of a Tao to the limit, allowing a supreme Tao ancestor to completely cultivate a Tao to the end, thus stepping into the invincible Tao ancestor's combat power. It is the hope of every supreme Taoist ancestor. But for the seventh heavenly Tao ancestor, it is also hope. If I get the Forbidden Mother Stone, I can not only enter the realm of the strongest Taoist ancestor, but also the invincible Taoist realm. Gufeng Daozu went crazy and rushed down at the fastest speed. The other Taoist ancestors did not react slowly, and rushed down to try to snatch the Taboo Mother Stone. Yi Tian is not slow at all, he also needs the Taboo Mother Stone, who doesn't need such a treasure. Total chaos this time. Black Wind Mountain. The Wind King and the Fire King have been following the news of the Forbidden Mountains, and when they learned that the Forbidden Mother Stone was born, they couldn't help it. King of Fire, I'm about to be born forcibly. Although I don't know how big the Forbidden Mother Stone is, it is definitely enough for me alone. The Wind King said. Wind King, be careful, this time, I am afraid that you are not the only Supreme Tao ancestor who will make a move. I will help you too. If the Forbidden Mother Stone is small, you can use it alone and first break through to the invincible Tao ancestor realm. If it is big enough, then give me one. The Fire King said. Thank you so much then. The Wind King said with a smile. In the turbulent flow of time and space, a sealed place. This place is not under the jurisdiction of the origin of the ancient world of Xuanxu. As long as you don't leave the sealed place, it will not be suppressed by the rules of the ancient world of Xuanxu. At this time, a man wearing an ancient shirt and a golden mask walked out of the ancient sarcophagus. There is an ancient forbidden text on his shirt, Wind. This represents his identity, the Wind King. This is his body. Wow! The Wind King walked out of his sealed sleeping place, stepped into the turbulent flow of time and space, and stepped into the ancient world of Xuanxu, heading towards the Forbidden Mountain Range. Along the way, the swords of rules of the ancient world of Xuanxu attacked and suppressed him differently, and countless chains of rules bound him, causing his strength to continue to decline. It is enough to only exert the strength of the fourth heavenly Tao ancestor. The Wind King frowned. On the other side, the Fire King also walked out of the place where his seal was sleeping and merged with the Wind King. Not only the supreme true ancestor of Haifeng Mountain was dispatched, but also the supreme Tao ancestors of other 8th heaven and 9 heaven forces. For example, one of the most powerful Taoist ancestors of Zixia sect, Chunyang Taoist ancestor. The most powerful Taoist ancestors of Tianjianzong, Secret Sword Taoist, Wanjian Taoist. The most powerful Daozu of King Kong City, Blood Gang Daozu, 10 Kill Daozu. The most powerful Daozu of Tiandaomen, Breaking the Air Daozu, Slaying the Silver Daozu. The most powerful Taoist ancestors of Tianai sect, Shanhai Taoist, Mixian Taoist and Bayan Taoist, Tianchi Taoist and Tianshou Taoist of Wanyu Temple, Zumi Taoist, Yunwu Taoist and Swallowing Taoist of Midianzong. One by one, the strongest Tao ancestors with the power of the 8th heaven descended to the Forbidden Mountains at the fastest speed, and their goal was very clear, just to snatch the Forbidden Mother Stone. It can be seen that the Taboo Mother Stone is of great help to them. In the depths of the turbulent flow of time and space, the palace of the Emperor of Heaven. Emperor Guangling also knew the news of the Taboo Mother Stone. After all, he has always been in charge of this matter, and he has also dispatched many true ancestors to various places in the ancient world of Xuanxu. This time, the news of the Forbidden Mother Stone was conveyed below, which shocked him. Although he has been working hard to cause disputes among the major forces and strive to let the Supreme Tao ancestors participate in the war, it is best to let a few Supreme Tao ancestors fall, but the Taboo Mother Stone still moved him. The Forbidden Mother Stone. Although I have reached the invincible Tao ancestor realm, if I obtain the Forbidden Mother Stone, I can even cultivate subordinates at the invincible Tao ancestor level. If I dedicate it to the Heavenly Emperor Palace, I can even exchange some that will help me break through to the half-step realm. Ancestral Treasure. 1. Emperor Guangling was heartbroken. However, the 3 palace masters have orders to not participate in the treasure competition at present. The last time was an exception. After all, no one knew, but this time so many Taoist ancestors appeared, and their Heavenly Emperor Palace could not be exposed. What a pity, Emperor Guangling's way. For the Taboo Mother Stone, he can still hold back. After all, he is the invincible Taoist ancestor, and the Taboo Mother Stone is useless to him, but so many powerful Taoist ancestors in the Tiandi Palace can't bear it anymore, and they all want to rush out of the Tiandi Palace and go to snatch the Forbidden Mother Stone. Just as several Supreme Taoist ancestors went out, a cloud of emptiness pressed over the Heavenly Emperor Palace, suppressing those Supreme Taoist ancestors. Meet the Qinglong Palace Master. Many Supreme Taoist ancestors bowed and worshipped. At the peak of the Heavenly Emperor Palace, there were 6 Palace Masters, Qinglong, Xuanwu, Baihu, Suzaku, Junwu, and Qishan. It was a pity that the realm was broken and 3 Palace Masters fell, leaving only 3 Palace Masters. The Qinglong Palace Master is undoubtedly the most powerful Palace Master, and his strength is still higher than that of the Junwu Palace Master. He usually rarely appears, but this time he appeared. All Taoist ancestors are not allowed to leave the Heavenly Emperor Palace. Although the Taboo Mother Stone is precious, once the Taboo world is born, it will have more precious treasures than the Taboo Mother Stone. This is a prosperous world, and everyone is expected to be invincible to the Taoist ancestor realm, but if you dare to destroy it the plan, even if you get the Forbidden Mother Stone, you have to die. Qinglong Palace Master said coldly. The wisps of murderous intent seemed to hang above the heads of the powerful Taoist ancestors, making them terrified. They lowered their heads one by one and said, yes. No one is not afraid of the Qinglong Palace Master. Compared with the more gentle Junwu Palace Master, the Qinglong Palace Master killed, I don't know how many Taoist ancestors he killed, and he once killed a half-step ancestor who opposed the Heavenly Emperor Palace, shocking how. Countless years in the Sea World. If someone dares to disobey his orders, he will really kill the other party, even if that person is an emperor of the Heavenly Emperor Palace. With the appearance of the Qinglong Palace Master, the Heavenly Emperor Palace completely withdrew from the stage of competing for the Taboo Mother Stone. The other side, the Supreme Tao ancestors have arrived at the Forbidden Tao Stone Mine in the Forbidden Mountains. The first Supreme Tao ancestor to descend was the Shu Mi Tao ancestor of the Mitn sect. His speed was unmatched in the world, crushing other Supreme Tao ancestors, and he could reach almost any place in the ancient world of Xuanshu in an instant. Thus, he arrives first. Get out of here, Zumi Daozu shouted Zhou. A seventh Heavenly Tao ancestor blocked his path. He pierced through the opponent's body with one blow, knocked him out, and completely inflicted heavy damage on the opponent. And several other seventh Heavenly Tao ancestors were all shaken by him, unable to resist him at all. The power of the eighth Heavenly Tao ancestor is so terrifying. Chapter 1133 The Supreme True Ancestor who is inserted horizontally. Chapter 3. The Forbidden Mother Stone is rooted in the Forbidden Tao Stone vein, which is more difficult to excavate than the Forbidden Tao Stone. In addition, the Tao ancestors blocked each other, so they could not be successfully stripped. Otherwise, no matter how fast Zumi Daozu is, he will not be able to compete for the Forbidden Mother Stone. At this time, Zumi Tao ancestor has come, and those seventh Heavenly Tao ancestors have lost the opportunity, and it is simply too difficult to compete with eighth Heavenly Tao ancestor. Yi Tian was also targeted by Shu Mi Tao ancestor, and the opponent attacked directly with a Tao technique. Not good. Yi Tian's expression changed, the great wilderness Dharma body was pushed to the extreme, and the taboo body of the Shaocheng realm was also pushed to the extreme. However, this Tao technique of Zumi Daozu is the most powerful Tao technique, killing Zumi sword. Extreme Taoism is the pinnacle of Taoism. Even if Zumi Daozu's slaughter Zumi sword is only an entry level, the entry-level Supreme Taoism is extremely terrifying, far exceeding other Taoisms. Boom! Layers of defenses were pierced, and even the defense of the battle robes at the level of heavenly generals was shattered like paper paste. The great wilderness law was also broken, and the taboo body of the Shaocheng realm was only weakened by about 10% of the attack. In an instant, one of Yi Tian's life-saving items was consumed. But even so, Yi Tian was injured, and the injury was not minor. But in the next moment, he used the power of the source to quickly consume the injury. If other people dare to do this, it will be abolished, but Yi Tian is the supreme true ancestor, the origin of things is inexhaustible, and he is not afraid of consumption at all. Ancestor Zumi frowned when he saw that his attack had failed to kill a true ancestor. Although he has heard of the name of General Juju, he does not know that Yi Tian has reached the realm of the supreme true ancestor. He just thinks that a true ancestor would dare to snatch the taboo mother stone, so he wants to kill and deal with it. Zong takes out a future opponent. But now that he knew that the confrontation was the supreme ancestor, 403 knew that he could not kill the opponent in a short time. After all, being able to use the power of the source to recover the injury is very difficult to kill. If it was normal, he would definitely try his best to kill Yi Tian, but now that the Forbidden Mother Stone was born, he would definitely try his best to fight for the Forbidden Mother Stone. No matter how important Yi Tian is, it is not as important as the Taboo Mother Stone. Immediately, he gave up Yi Tian and went deep into the Forbidden Tao Stone vein with one hand, trying to take away the Forbidden Mother Stone. At this time, other Supreme Tao ancestors also came. I saw that there was a wind knife in front of Zumi Daozu, which looked very ordinary, but Zumi Daozu's expression changed, his figure quickly retreated, and layers of Taoist defenses were opened. Puff puff, layers of defenses were broken by the wind knife, and finally a wound was left on the body of Zumi Daozu. Wind King, you are here too. Zumi Daozu's eyes looked somewhere in the void. I saw the Wind King walking out of nothingness, followed by the Fire King. The dresses of the two are very similar, except that one taboo is inscribed with the forbidden word wind, and the other is inscribed with the forbidden word fire. High function, the Wind King, the Fire King, haven't the other kings come? Zumi Daozu said coldly. What he said was intentional, which force would send out all the Supreme Tao ancestors? Moreover, many Supreme Tao ancestors have not recovered from their injuries. If they are forced out, they will easily fall, and naturally they will not take risks for the Forbidden Mother Stone. Besides, when the Taboo Mother Stone is not big, if a faction is competing for multiple Supreme Taoist ancestors, how should it be divided? Is it possible that the Supreme Taoist ancestors of one forced CJFI still have to fight? Therefore, the strongest Tao ancestor of a force will also discuss who will go out. It is already very great that the 6 kings of Haifeng Mountain can come to 2, and most of the 8th level forces can come to 2 Supreme Taoist ancestors at most, so there is no need to send more. Superior. The Fire King restrained Zumi Daozu, and the Wind King took action to snatch the Forbidden Mother Stone. The battle is on again. The battle at the Supreme Tao ancestor level, no matter how weakened it is not something Yi Tian can participate in. These Supreme Taoist ancestors all possessed forbidden bodies, mastered the power of dark taboos, and basically possessed Supreme Taoism, and their combat power was extremely terrifying. Yi Tian fought with them, and the strongest attack could not hurt them in the slightest. Unless Yi Tian can cultivate to the pinnacle of the Supreme True Ancestor, he will be able to reluctantly fight with these Supreme Tao ancestors in the Xuanxu Ancient Realm. Retreat. Yi Tian quickly retreated from the battlefield, and the other true ancestors also retreated one by one, for fear of being killed by the battle fluctuations of the Supreme Tao ancestors. Although the Forbidden Mountain Range has restrained the battle fluctuations, many Supreme Taoist ancestors are fighting here, and the battle fluctuations have affected the outside world. In addition, the real country of the God of War has long been affected by the battles of the real ancestors. As a result, the entire God of War real kingdom disintegrated and shattered in an instant. Boom! Countless fragments were scattered in the void of the ancient world of Xuanxu, and those ordinary creatures who remained in the true kingdom of the God of War died instantly, and even the corpses were not left behind. The fighting of the most powerful Taoist ancestors caused many forbidden Taoist stones to collapse and fly out, and were robbed by other Taoist ancestors and some true ancestors. The target of the Supreme Taoist ancestors is the Forbidden Mother Stone, so they are not very interested in those scattered forbidden Taoist stones. Yi Tian also grabbed hundreds of forbidden Tao stones, but it was far worse than the previous harvest. However, most of the forbidden Tao stones were snatched away by the Supreme Tao ancestors. They were not stupid. It was impossible not to want those forbidden Tao stones. Even if they competed for the forbidden Tao stones, it took little time to collect the forbidden Tao stones. In a short while, the entire forbidden Tao stone vein was completely shattered, most of the forbidden Tao stone was snatched away, and the forbidden Tao stone was completely exposed. This forbidden Mother Stone is not small. In an instant, all the Supreme Tao ancestors were excited. According to their preliminary speculation, this Taboo Mother Stone is enough to make the 3 Supreme Taoist ancestors hit the realm of invincible Taoist ancestors. Any force who obtains this Taboo Mother Stone is likely to cultivate 3 invincible Taoist ancestors. Especially for the 8-fold heaven forces, getting this Taboo Mother Stone means that their forces can become 9-fold heaven forces. Who will be afraid of the 3 9 heavenly forces, Tian'ai sect, Mission sect and Wanyu Temple? In the period of the Hao Hai Sea realm, the 9 heavens forces crushed the 8-fold heaven forces. But nowadays, the major 8th level forces are not afraid of the 9th level forces at all, and the 8th level forces are not in the eyes of them. Everyone speaks with strength, without scruples. Because no one knows what will happen in the future, it is normal for the 8th heaven to surpass the 9 heaven forces in the future. Without the rules of the ancient world, how could the 8th heavenly powers and the 3 9 heavenly powers snatch the Taboo Mother Stone? But now they are all crazy and snatch the Taboo Mother Stone at all costs. Even several Supreme Taoist ancestors of the 8-fold heavenly forces used forbidden techniques to successfully snatch the Forbidden Mother Stone. Unexpected. The Daozu Shanhai and Daozu of Secret Immortals of Tian'ai sect used forbidden techniques one after another to block the attacks of other Supreme Daozu, while Daozu of 8 Clouds of Tian'ai sect displayed a forbidden ray of light. Shout out. The Forbidden Mother Stone was cut off with a single blow, breaking away from the Forbidden Tao Stone vein. The one-person High Taboo Mother Stone flew up, and Yayan Daozu was about to reach out and grab him. Bayan Daozu, you dare! The other Supreme Tao ancestors glared angrily and were very unwilling. They knew very well that once the Forbidden Mother Stone fell into the hands of the 8 Cloud Tao ancestors, it would be more difficult to take it away. But they also did not expect that Tianhaizong was willing to let 2 Supreme Tao ancestors perform a forbidden technique at the same time, and it was a forbidden technique that was performed at a huge price. After this blow, these 2 Supreme Tao ancestors would probably suffer serious damage to their foundations. It will fall by accident. Of course, if he really succeeded in taking away the taboo Mother Stone, then all the price would be worth it. However, something unexpected happened. A slender little hand came out of the air, taking a step ahead of the 8 Cloud Daozu, and took away the Forbidden Mother Stone. Court death. Yakumo Daozu was angry, and a blow penetrated the void, killing the unknown depths. Boom boom boom. One by one the most powerful Tao ancestors stopped and chased after the mysterious man who took away the Forbidden Mother Stone. In the blink of an eye, the Forbidden Mountains no longer had a Supreme Taoist ancestor. At this time, many true ancestors were talking about it. Who was that just now? It seems to be a woman's hand. How do you know if it's a man or a woman? The Taoist ancestors have changed a lot. Just pretend, who knows? Why do I feel that the person is not the Taoist ancestor, but the true ancestor? True ancestor? Don't be kidding, Juji General is the supreme ancestor, and he can't compete with the supreme Taoist ancestor. Which real ancestor can snatch the Forbidden Mother Stone in front of the supreme Taoist ancestor? No one believed that it was a true ancestor, but Yi Tian did. Is that Ouyang Jor? Yi Tian secretly said. Although that person's breath was fleeting, it didn't look like Ouyang Jor, but it was not difficult to change his breath, not to mention that Ouyang Jor was a half-step ancestor in his previous life, so it was not difficult to change his breath. And he is sure that that person is a supreme true ancestor, and his strength is definitely not weaker than him, but his strange methods surpass him. Supreme true ancestor, the method is strange. Is this abnormal Ouyang Jor's operation? If it was a normal supreme true ancestor, he would never hope to snatch things from the supreme Tao ancestor, but Ouyang Jor, who was reincarnated as a half-step domain ancestor, has hoped to do so. I hope Ouyang Jor can get rid of those supreme Taoist ancestors. Yi Tian secretly looked forward to saying. Chapter 1134 The Greatest Tao Ancestor Falls. Fourth more. Xuanshu Ancient World, in a void. A named Xian True Ancestor appeared, but he lost track of the enemy. Damn, I can't find it. 8 Cloud Daozu said angrily. His dignified and powerful Tao ancestor tracked a supreme true ancestor, but he still lost it. He admitted that the supreme true ancestor was amazing, but he was far from growing up, and he was able to escape from him and so many supreme Tao ancestors without even seeing his back. At this time, the supreme Tao ancestors felt that their faces were dull, and they were all very angry. They have to pay a price for their birth this time. Now that they have not snatched the taboo Mother Stone, it is a big loss. If it is taken away by other supreme Taoist ancestors, it will only be a pity, but if it is taken away by a true ancestor, it will be a shame and shame. Who is this person? A supreme Taoist asked. Is it the true ancestor of all laws? Someone else asked. It's not the true ancestor of Wanfa. The true ancestor of Wanfa was watching with Zhu Jishan just now. Both of them should also be the supreme true ancestor, but they did not take action, and they are not qualified to do so. The supreme true ancestor who shot the strength is the same, but the means of escaping and hiding the breath are too terrifying. Too weird, the Wind King said. He said this because he wanted to exclude Yi Tian. He knew that the true ancestor of 10,000 laws and Zhu Jishan were the same person. If others suspected what Yi Tian did, it would not be a good thing. Of course, the other supreme Tao ancestors are not stupid and would not really think that Yi Tian did it. Could it be a reincarnated person? Bayan Daozu said. If it is the reincarnation of a strong person, then it is not difficult for the supreme true ancestor to master the taboo. That's also possible. Yes, it must be the reincarnation of the invincible true ancestor, or the reincarnation of the half-step domain ancestor, otherwise the supreme true ancestor would not have such a heaven-defying existence. Many supreme Tao ancestors have found a suitable reason. After all, a reincarnated person at the half-step domain ancestor or invincible true ancestor level, once he reaches the supreme true ancestor's combat power, it is normal to have such means. In this case, they are not ashamed. The Forbidden Mother Stone is gone, and there is no need for their group of supreme Taoist ancestors to fight, and they turned away one by one. They have been born for a long time, and their strength is slowly declining. If time is delayed, under the suppression of the ancient world of Xuanshu, they will probably be seriously injured, and even their strength will drop to a certain level, and they may even be killed by the Supreme Being. Ancestor beheaded. Therefore, in the case of no benefit, they just want to go back immediately and continue to sleep and seal themselves. 8 Cloud Daozu took Shanhai Daozu and Secret Immortal Daozu to return to Tian'ai sect quickly. At this time, Shanhai Daozu and Secret Immortal Daozu started to break out after the forbidden technique, and the breath was declining, and the decline was very fast. It's almost time, we're going to Tianhaizong. Yayan Daozu murmured. Shanhai Daozu and Secret Immortal Daozu also breathed a sigh of relief. At this time, their breath has dropped to the realm only equivalent to the 3rd level Tian Daozu, and they are about to fall to the 3rd level Tian Daozu. But it doesn't matter, once they return to the sleeping place, without the suppression of the ancient rules of Xuanxu, they can easily recover from their injuries. As for the consequences of forbidden techniques, they can also slowly recover with the background of Tianhaizong. Only this time, Tianhaizong lost a lot. Unexpected. The expression of the Secret Immortal Daozu changed, as if he felt the real horror, his face began to distort. Not good. Secret Immortal Daozu was shocked. He seemed to want to escape, but it was too late. Puff! A crimson arrow pierced through the void, and the arrow penetrated the head of the Secret Immortal Daozu, and even shot into the source of the Secret Immortal Daozu. Boom! The origin of the Secret Immortal Daozu, which was severely injured, burst open, and the entire body began to burst. Daozu Shanhai and Daozu Yakumo on the side were stunned, looking at this scene incredulously. They watched the Secret Immortal Daozu being shot by an arrow, but they didn't have time to stop it. It was just that the arrow was too secret, too fast, and too powerful. What's more important is that the Secret Immortal Dao ancestor used a forbidden technique before, and the source was injured, otherwise the arrow could only hurt the Secret Immortal Dao ancestor. I saw the breath of the Secret Immortal Daozu dissipate and return to heaven and earth completely. At the same time, blood reigned in all parts of the ancient world of Xuanxu, the avenues were crying, and countless powerhouses vaguely felt the scene of a supreme being falling. The expressions of the Wind King and the Fire King who had just returned to Haifeng Mountain changed. They are very clear about what this vision represents, which means that there is a supreme Taoist ancestor who has fallen. Who fell? The two were curious. The Daozu of the Secret Immortal fell, and the Daozu of Shanhai was terrified in his heart, because his state was similar to that of the ancestor of the Immortal Secret. If the arrow was not shot at the ancestor of the Immortal Secret, but at him, then I am afraid that the person who fell would be him. Go back quickly. Yayan Daozu protected Shanhai Daozu and rushed back to Tianhaizong at the fastest speed. Tianhaizong. Knowing that the Secret Immortal Dao ancestor had fallen, several 9 heavenly Dao ancestors of Tian'ai sect were furious, and a wisp of consciousness descended, roaring in the void of the Xuanxu ancient realm. However, they did not know who shot the arrow, and the timing was too clever. If the Secret Immortal Daozu did not use the forbidden technique, he would not have fallen this time. Tianhaizong and other forces are guessing who shot the arrow. It may be the other 2 9 heavens forces, or it may be those 8-fold heaven forces. After all, if other forces had the opportunity to kill an 8th-level Supreme Taoist ancestor of the Tian'ai sect, they would not miss the opportunity, but they were not sure, so they did not do it. But this time, I was sure to kill a strong Taoist ancestor. Therefore, any force has this possibility. Ask for flowers. It is even possible that the Heavenly Emperor Palace did it. But many people feel that the Heavenly Emperor Palace does not need to kill a Supreme Tao Patriarch, because the Supreme Tao Patriarch is not a threat to the Heavenly Emperor Palace, and at present the Heavenly Emperor Palace has not prohibited their major forces from growing. If the Forbidden Palace were really born, with their strength, all the treasures would probably fall into their hands. Therefore, the possibility of them killing a Supreme Taoist ancestor is really not high. More importantly, the 3 major 9-layered forces used to mix with the Tiandi Palace, and the Tiandi Palace had no reason to deal with the Tian'ai sect. Of course, everything is speculation, and no one knows what the truth is. Human race. Yi Tian also returned. He did not continue to stay in the Forbidden Mountain range, although there are some forbidden treasures there, but there are definitely not many. Besides, he has gained too much this time. There are many true ancestors who fell in the Forbidden Mountain range this time, and even a few Taoist ancestors fell. He took the opportunity to take away the bodies of many true ancestors and a Taoist ancestor, and also found a lot of forbidden strange objects from them. The total number of forbidden strange objects obtained by him is about 200. 0. The most important thing is that he has obtained tens of thousands of forbidden Tao stones, which is the biggest gain. After returning, he came to Ouyang Jor's residence. At this time, Yang had also returned, and when Yi Tian came to visit, he came out. 9. Just now. Before Yi Tian asked, Yang took the lead. Yes, it was me just now. Yi Tian said quickly. It's too dangerous for you to do that. Danger is equal to gain. Yang smiled slightly. Besides, I am sure, otherwise I would not dare to snatch the Forbidden Mother Stone from the hands of many supreme Taoist ancestors. Wait, I will give you a small piece of Forbidden Mother Stone. With the help of the Forbidden Mother Stone and the Forbidden Stone Tablet, he has a very high chance of successfully comprehending the Forbidden Way. As long as he comprehends a little bit of fur, it will have unimaginable benefits for you. This is too precious. Yi Tian said, there's nothing to be ashamed of, but I'll only give you a little bit, don't give it to others, otherwise, it will be a big trouble if it leaks. Besides, other people can't use the taboo Mother Stone at the moment. Yang reminded. Yeah, Yi Tian nodded. Yi Tian asked again. Just now, there is a supreme Taoist ancestor who has fallen, what's going on? Yang waved his hand and said, this has nothing to do with me, I haven't the strength to kill a supreme Taoist ancestor, it's almost the same as killing me. I guess the fallen people should be the Shanghai Taoist and the Mixian Taoist, one of the people. Who will kill them? Yi Tian frowned. Yang guessed. It is very likely that it is the Emperor's palace, you should be careful in the future, the Emperor's palace has great plans, although it won't specifically deal with you, but if you block the Emperor's palace, they don't mind obliterating you. I see. Yi Tian nodded. Chapter 1135 The Real Plan of the Tiandi Palace. First update. Subsequently, Yang cut a small piece of Forbidden Mother Stone for Yi Tian, although it was a very small piece, at most only 1% of the Forbidden Mother Stone, Yi Tian was already very excited. After all, the relationship between the two of them is not too close. Strictly speaking, they are just friends and partners, and many Supreme Tao ancestors seem to be friends with each other, but they will even fight desperately for the Forbidden Mother Stone. Therefore, it was very generous for Yang to give him a small taboo Mother Stone. If Yang gave him too many taboo Mother Stones, he wouldn't dare to ask for it. Yi Tian stayed at Yang residence for a while, and the two chatted for a long time. Afterwards, Yi Tian returned to his palace and began to retreat and cultivate, while using the Forbidden Tao Stone to improve his cultivation, while relying on the Forbidden Mother Stone to comprehend the Forbidden Tao. The other side, Tiandi Palace. Palace Master Junwu and Palace Master Qinglong stood on the edge of the Heavenly Emperor Palace, and Palace Master Junwu held a war bow in his hand. Junwu, you can't shoot this arrow just now, and you're out of sight. No one knows who shot the 403 arrow. I am afraid that Tianheizong will still doubt the hand of Midianzong in Wanyu Temple at this moment. Qinglong Palace Master laughed. It doesn't make any sense, it's too embarrassing to be sneaking around like this all the time. I actually prefer to kill directly, said the Palace Master Junwu. Qinglong Palace Master also nodded. I also like to do it directly, such a small action is really not suitable for me, but there is no way, the order of the ancestors is not something you and I can disobey. Our task is to promote the birth of the taboo world, this no changes are allowed in the process. It's a pity that the taboo world is too difficult to be born. Our Heavenly Emperor Palace has worked hard for so long, but we have only made a little sign. Today's Xuanxu ancient world still needs a lot of blood and souls of living beings. Only the lives of the true ancestors and Taoist ancestors can make the ancient world of Xuanxu evolve and eventually become a taboo world. However, there are too many true ancestors and Taoist ancestors. Once we kill them, those forces will definitely resist us. Like now that we have cut them off one after another, generations of true ancestors and Taoist ancestors have been killed by us, we can definitely make the ancient world of Xuanxu grow up. Yeah, the Palace Master Junwu nodded, no matter how they grow, they can't surpass our Heavenly Emperor Palace. As long as they can't give birth to the ancestors, they will be a dish in our hands. And once the taboo world is born, we can use the taboo world as the coordinates, providing coordinates for the ancestors so that the ancestors can find here across the dark forbidden area. However, the two still have an idea in their hearts, that is, not to lead the ancestors. In this case, in this unfamiliar realm, they are the strongest and dominate a realm. But this idea was only fleeting, and they didn't dare to think about it again. One is that the other palace lord of the Tiandi Palace, the Baihu Palace Lord, is a descendant of the ancestors of Hao Haixi. Although his strength is not as good as them, he will never allow them to do so. The second is that even if the ancestors of the Hao Haixi did not have the taboo realm as a coordinate, they would still find this realm in the future. They are very aware of the strength of the ancestors of the How High Sea. They can be called the strongest world lords in the past. One person has the upper hand in fighting several domain ancestors. They don't think those domain ancestors can surround and kill the ancestors of the How High Sea. There is also the most important third point. Once the taboo world is born, they even hope to take advantage of the great opportunity at the moment when the taboo world is born, and enter the domain ancestor level in one fell swoop. Otherwise, even if they are already half-step domain ancestors, and there is hope to become domain ancestors, they don't know how many long years it will take. Therefore, it is also their hope to promote the birth of the taboo world. By the way, it is said that the Forbidden Mother Stone was taken away by a true ancestor, and even the Tiandi mirror did not detect the whereabouts of the true ancestor. It seems that the other party knows the Tiandi mirror of our Tiandi palace and deliberately blocked the Tiandi mirror. Palace Master Junwoo suddenly said. It's really strange. Qinglong Palace Master frowned and said. The Emperor Mirror can see everything, and even the traces of the Supreme Taoist secret Immortal Daozu have been probed by us and locked. How can a mere true ancestor get rid of the lock of the Tiandi mirror? Unless that person also has a treasure that is not weaker than the Heavenly Emperor Mirror, or has a forbidden secret technique. According to my guess, the forbidden secret technique is most likely. A supreme true ancestor can possess the forbidden secret technique for the Heavenly Emperor Mirror. It must be unusual. Could it be the reincarnation of an old friend? There is a possibility of this, and we should pay attention to it at ordinary times. A supreme true ancestor is so strange, and he will definitely become a half-step ancestor in the future, so don't let the other party interfere with our plans. Junwoo Palace Master said. Even if the other party knows about our plan, they don't dare to interfere, that's courting death. Moreover, the half-step domain ancestor also hopes that the taboo world can be born, such as Blackwind Mountain. This force is very likely to have a half-step domain ancestor, How Hai Heizu said. Haifeng Mountain is very mysterious, and he is not sure to destroy the other party. No matter how well planned our plan is, we may not be able to hide Haifeng Mountain. But there is no movement in Haifeng Mountain, perhaps acquiescing to our plan. Qinglong Palace Master Road. Haifengtian is a robber, and they will not destroy our plan for their own interests. In short, the Tiandi sect should not be exposed at the moment. At least we have to wait for the Xuanshu Ancient Realm to be promoted to the Ancient Realm before we are born, said the master of Junwoo Palace. In the ancient world of Xuanshu, many forces naturally did not know the conversation between the Qinglong Palace Master and the Junwoo Palace Master, otherwise they would kill the Emperor Palace one by one. Because of not knowing the truth, with the fall of the secret Immortal Tao ancestor, the relationship between the three Nine Heavens forces has become very delicate, and even the relationship with those 8 heavenly heaven forces has become very poor. If there is any doubt, Tianhaizong will not let it go. Under such circumstances, the friction between Tianhaizong and other 8th level and 9th level forces continued, and even many fights between the true ancestors broke out. In addition, the situation of the true ancestors of the real country of the God of War was not good. All the true ancestors who were suspected to have obtained the forbidden Tao stones or forbidden strange objects were assassinated one by one. But as long as it is the object of suspicion, it is inevitable to be killed. Under such circumstances, those true ancestors who obtained forbidden Tao stones and many forbidden strange objects traded the treasures with the Tao ancestors behind them and obtained a lot of resources, thereby improving their strength in a short period of time, or simply not going out. In short, every time after the appearance of the forbidden treasure, the ancient world of Xuanshu was very chaotic. Many true ancestors fell, but many true ancestors rose. The human race is very comfortable during this period of time. Many human race geniuses go out to experience, and people from other forces are very polite, and few people dare to offend the human race. Not for other reasons, just because Yi Tian became the supreme true ancestor, his strength far surpassed other invincible true ancestors, and he could even kill the invincible true ancestor easily. Who would dare to offend Yi Tian when Daozu didn't take action? And how can Daozu be born casually? Once every Daozu is born, it is difficult to come out next time, otherwise the price is not something they can bear. Moreover, the common Taoist came out and was beaten by Yi Tian. Only the top 7th level Taoist could fight against Yi Tian, and the 8th level strongest Taoist could not kill Yi Tian. Therefore, the human race with the blessing of Yi Tian can be called the largest race in the ancient world of Xuanshu. And Yi Tian didn't manage these little things. As long as the human race didn't fight secretly, he would be arrogant outside. Anyway, the Taoist ancestors of the Xuanshu ancient realm could not be easily born, and he could control the situation by himself. Of course, he is also doing his best to cultivate and strive to raise his strength to a new level. In a flash, 800,000 years have passed. On this day, Yi Tian ushered in the first good news. 5.8 He finally cultivated the 1000 Tao technique in the Great Wilderness Dharma body to the extreme level. This is a huge improvement, which has greatly improved his strength. In the past tens of thousands of years, his forbidden body has been tempered to 50%, and the power of the true ancestor, the power of the body, and the power of the soul have also increased a lot. Then, another 100,000 years passed, and the 1000 path technique of the vansh true spear was also raised to the extreme level. With the passage of time, the 1000 Tao techniques in a sect have successively reached the limit level, which has improved Yi Tian's strength a lot, which is no longer comparable to the past. Now, if Yi Tian fights against Shu Mi Daozu again, he will not be seriously injured by the opponent's blow, and he does not need to use the power of the source to heal. Of course, in the ancient world of Xuanshu, he still can't compete with the most powerful Taoist ancestors like Zumi Taoist, at most he can fight a few more tricks. I still have to rely on the forbidden way. Once I understand the forbidden way, even if I don't realize the endless forbidden way, my strength can be turned upside down, and I am absolutely sure to fight against the weaker Supreme Tao ancestor. Yi Tian secretly said. Chapter 1136 The Natural Talent Tree. 2nd. Now, Yi Tian has a deep understanding of the forbidden way, and he can fully comprehend it with a single kick. Of course, what he comprehended was not the complete forbidden Tao, it was too difficult, let alone him. I am afraid it was Ouyang Zhuor who did not necessarily understand the complete forbidden Tao. If it is described in terms of proportions, he is probably about to comprehend 1/10,000th of the forbidden way, which is already a great achievement. Another time has passed, Yi Tian is still comprehending the forbidden way. With the help of the taboo mother stone and the taboo steel fragments, Yi Tian finally understood a taboo way on this day, as if he had completed a huge baptism, a fundamental qualitative change had taken place. At the same time, Yi Tian's Tao source was also integrated into the taboo Tao, and it began to change a little bit, and even a trace of the forbidden Tao source was born, so that the Tao source of Yi Tian began to change, but this change is a good change, it is a transformation towards a higher level of origin. At this time, Yi Tian realized the power of the forbidden Tao. The Tao of a realm could not be compared with the forbidden Tao at all, the two completely belong to two levels of power. It can also be said that the great Tao of the realm evolved from the taboo Tao, which is a weakened version. Comprehend the taboo way. Although it's just a taboo way, it's still a long way from comprehending the complete taboo way, but it also helps my strength to a certain extent. With the dark taboo power I currently have to motivate forbidden Tao casts the forbidden spear, which is enough to unleash a full strength attack comparable to the 1000 Tao techniques in Dachang. The key is to be able to attack continuously, but Tao techniques cannot achieve continuous attacks. Yi Tian murmured. The key is that he has understood a taboo way, which can be regarded as opening the door of the taboo way, which is extremely important. The reason why many people have not comprehended the forbidden way, and even became the most powerful Tao ancestor and the invincible Tao ancestor, did not comprehend the forbidden way, because they did not open this door. If the door of the forbidden way is opened, it will take a long time to achieve something in the forbidden way. If those Taoist ancestors knew that Yi Tian had comprehended the forbidden Tao, they would be extremely jealous. But Yi Tian doesn't have any pride in his mind. He is very clear that he has a big gap with Ouyang Zhuor in the forbidden way. Ouyang Zhuor is the reincarnation of the half-step domain ancestor. Even if reincarnated and rebuilt, he has now mastered the taboo way and is making rapid progress. Yi Tian also didn't know how deep Ouyang Zhuor was in the forbidden Tao, but he definitely far surpassed him. He even suspected that Ouyang Zhuor's combat power had surpassed him. Of course, this was only a temporary transcendence. After all, Ouyang Zhuor had the foundation of his previous life, so he naturally progressed rapidly in the initial stage. He didn't have to compete with Ouyang Zhuor for the speed of progress. The forbidden way that Yi Tian comprehends is the way of attack, which focuses on attacking and can bless the power of attack. Therefore, the next forbidden way he comprehends is mainly related to attack, and after comprehending the first forbidden way, it is much easier to comprehend other forbidden ways. In the following days, Yi Tian spent most of his time comprehending the forbidden Tao. One after another of the forbidden Tao was comprehended by Yi Tian. Of course, he was only initially enlightened, and his attainments were not high. But now, Yi Tian only pursues quantity, not quality, but only seeks to comprehend more taboos. In addition, Yi Tian is also working hard to cultivate forbidden techniques, constantly improving his physical power, true ancestor power and soul power, striving for a comprehensive improvement. Apart from Yi Tian, Xiao Yu has made great progress with her sons and daughters. The main reason is that Yi Tian gave some forbidden Dao stones to Xiao Yu and a pair of children, and let them use the forbidden Dao stones to temper the power of the true ancestor and temper the forbidden body. Without caring about the forbidden Dao stones, Xiao Yu quickly stepped into the realm of invincible Taoist ancestors. And Yi Xingchen and Yi Xingyu have also progressed rapidly, and now they are the top true ancestors, and it is estimated that they will be able to enter the strongest true ancestors soon. This day, in the ancient world of Xuanshu, a forbidden treasure appeared in the kingdom of King Kong. However, this time, the major forces did not compete for this forbidden treasure, but sent people to block it. Not long after, the Tian'ai sect sent someone to ask Yi Tian to participate in the sect meeting. All representatives of the major sects or the invincible true ancestors are eligible to attend this meeting. And Yi Tian, as the supreme true ancestor, was naturally invited to join the ranks. And the content of this meeting is that forbidden treasure. It can be said that this time is very harmonious, unlike before. Once the forbidden treasure land came out, there were fights everywhere. King Kong Zhengguo, Yi Tian came here. This is the site of King Kong City. The King Kong Real Kingdom is a huge real country rebuilt after King Kong City occupied several real kingdoms. There are countless creatures inside, and they continue to send talented people to King Kong City and strengthen the power of King Kong City. The meeting was set at the King Kong City branch of King Kong Gen Kingdom. If it was set at the King Kong City headquarters, no one would dare to go there. After all, it is the base camp of King Kong City, and there are a large number of true ancestors sitting there, and it is very easy for Taoist ancestors to go. Descend into birth. If King Kong City attacks them, then they have no chance to escape. If it is set in the King Kong City branch, then the danger is not great. Shortly after, Yi Tian came to King Kong City alone, and was entertained with the highest courtesy. A female disciple of King Kong City at the top true ancestor level personally acted as a guide and brought Yi Tian into the residence of the King Kong City branch, and explained about this meeting. General situation. Yi Tian came earlier, so he stayed in King Kong City, and the other true ancestors came one by one a few days later. The meeting has finally started. In the conference hall, Yi Tian sat in a high position, sitting with those invincible true ancestors. As for the true ancestors who were weak or came from small forces, they could only sit on the edge. The meeting was initiated by Tianheizong, but the forbidden treasure land appeared in King Kong Zhengguo, so it was decided to open here, so it was considered that Tianheizong and King Kong City jointly held this meeting. The one who really presides over the meeting is the invincible true ancestor of Tianheizong, Hebo Junzu. True ancestor Hebo said, Everyone must be very eager to enter that forbidden treasure land, but the upper three heaven forces and a small part of the three heaven forces know the situation of that forbidden treasure land, so they are not in a hurry to break in. Forbidden treasure land, but it is estimated that many people still do not know. Let me tell you. That forbidden treasure land is very special. The invincible ancestors of King Kong City tried to enter there, but found that they could not get in, but some ancestors managed to enter. Hearing this, many true ancestors became curious. Yi Tian was not surprised. His news was very well informed, and he naturally knew it long ago, but he did not interrupt the true ancestor Hebo, but listened carefully. I saw Hebo Junzu said again. According to our continuous research, we finally found that people who can enter the forbidden treasure land must be under 10 million years old. Of course, this age does not include the time in the time acceleration, but is based on the date of birth. Since then, the age recognized by the ancient world of Xuanshu. Therefore, our ancient ancestors cannot enter at all. He is the welfare of the new ancestors in the 403 Xuanshu ancient world. According to the reports of some ancestors who entered it, the forbidden treasure land is also very dangerous, but the opportunity is not small, and there are some forbidden strange things in it. But the most precious thing is that there is a natal talent tree inside the forbidden treasure land, which has 1024 fruits, and each fruit is consumed. A Tao-level natural talent can be born. What? The natal talent tree, the forbidden treasure land gave birth to such a legendary ancient tree. Many true ancestors were shocked. In fact, Yi Tian was also very shocked when he first heard the news. The natural talent tree is rarer and more precious than the talent ancestor pool. Once it appears, it will be enough to cause countless Tao ancestors to fight and snatch. But this time was different. The natal talent tree appeared in the forbidden treasure land, and it was a very restrictive forbidden treasure land. Tao ancestors could not enter this forbidden treasure land. At that time, he Dao, Lin Kuang, there are a lot of taboo main objects, many of which are comparable to the top true ancestors and the most powerful true ancestors. Therefore, I have to send a large number of true ancestors under 10 million years old. There are countless opportunities in the ancient world, but there are too few true ancestors under 10 million years old, and it is difficult for any one force to send many. However, the whole of the ancient world of Xuanshu calculates, there are too many such true ancestors. And according to our calculations, the rules of this forbidden treasure are very strange, and many people from the outside are not allowed to enter, so we are going to select the strongest 100,000 true ancestors to enter this place. A forbidden treasure land, snatch the natural fruit. Chapter 1137 Make every effort to improve the strength of children. Third. How to choose the strongest 100,000 true ancestors. Someone asked. The true ancestor Hebo smiled and said, "It's very simple, just like the announcement of this news in the ancient world of Xuanshu, all the true ancestors who are less than 10 million years old can participate, and then let them enter a world to fight, and finally 100,000 people survive. The true ancestor is the strongest true ancestor. If you don't dare to continue fighting, you can quit, but once you quit, you will be eliminated." Although this method is simple, it is very applicable. In this case, I am afraid that many true ancestors will fall. Those who can enter the ranks of true ancestors in thousands of years are basically the top geniuses. It would be a pity to lose too many. It's a pity, Hebo Junzu sarcastically said. How precious is the natural talent tree, plus those taboo strange things, if we can't get in, otherwise everyone is already fighting together now, what a pity. This is a big opportunity, who doesn't want it? If you are afraid of death, then don't sign up. When does it begin? Someone else asked. In 100 years, there will be plenty of time. True ancestor Hebo suggested. The other true ancestors had no opinion and agreed. Then, many true ancestors made some other suggestions, all of which were details, but Yi Tian didn't open his mouth during the whole process. After all, there was nothing to talk about. The meeting ended shortly after. Then, a famous true ancestor left. Back to the human race. Yi Tian called his son Yi Xingchen and daughter Yi Xingyu. Xingchen, Xingyu, this time a forbidden treasure was born. Anyone over 10 million years old cannot enter. This age is based on the time of birth and has nothing to do with the time of time acceleration. Do you want to enter? Yi Tian asked. Think. Yi Xingchen responded immediately. Yi Xingyu also nodded. They have always wanted to enter the forbidden treasure land, but unfortunately Yi Tian has not allowed it, because it is too dangerous and will fall if you are not careful. This time is a little dangerous, but the opportunity is great, otherwise I won't come to tell you. Let's talk about the danger first. There are a lot of forbidden bloodline creatures in that forbidden treasure land, and some of them are comparable to the true ancestors. In addition, you still need to go through a fight and only allow 100,000 true ancestors to enter the forbidden treasure land. Let's talk about opportunities. There are many forbidden treasures in the forbidden treasure land, but the most precious treasure is the natural talent tree. You should all know the Dao level natural talent. Your mother and I both have the Dao level natural talent, but you want to get Dao level natal talent is very difficult, but taking natal level natal talent can give birth to Dao level natal talent. If you get Dao level natal talent, you can have Dao level natal talent, and it will be much easier to practice Dao in the future. Yi Tian said. In fact, he also wanted to give Yi Xingchen and Yi Xingyu the natural talent of the Dao level that he could not use, but in order to sharpen them, he did not do so. In the future, when his son and daughter made rough progress in the true ancestor layer, they would be very slow. Then give them Dao level natural talents. But this time, they don't need it. If they get the natural talent fruit, they can give birth to the Dao level natural talent by themselves. Moreover, this is also an opportunity to sharpen, and it is not too dangerous for Yi Xingchen and Yi Xingyu, who are already top true ancestors. After all, there are not many people who can cultivate to the top true ancestors before thousands of years old. They are basically the core geniuses of the major forces, and they are often cultivated with time formations and a large number of taboo strange things to achieve this. In the environment of the previous universe, even if you cultivate for 1,000 trillion years and add 100 million, you will not be able to cultivate to the top true ancestor. For example, Yi Tian, how terrifying the talent is, but because there are no resources, it took a long time to cultivate to the level of Tianjin. If it is now, the speed of cultivation is simply useless. There is still 100 years left. Yi Tian intends to use this time to improve the strength of Yi Xingchen and Yi Xingyu. It is not realistic to let them rise from the top primal ancestor to the strongest primogenitor at once, unless they use some special method to exhaust their potential, but in that case, it is equivalent to abolishing them. But Yi Tian is very clear that for those forbidden treasures and the natural fruit of life, there may be a great force that will forcefully enhance the strength of some true ancestors, and then promise to let them reincarnate and cultivate them in the second life. Once that is done, the strength of those true ancestors can really be promoted to the top true ancestors, and even individually to the level of the strongest true ancestors. Even if he will die soon, there is hope to get a lot of natural talent. This deal is worth it. But Yi Tian can't do this, he can't kill his own son and daughter. Therefore, he must use alternative methods to enhance the strength of his children. His method is very simple. One is to use 100,000 times the time to form a large formation. In 100 years, it is equivalent to 10 million years, so that you can spend a lot of time for cultivation, tempering their fleshly bodies, allowing their fleshly bodies to grow rapidly. Ordinary people dare not use this method, and Tao ancestors also dare not do it, because their source power cannot be born naturally, but Yi Tian is the supreme true ancestor, and the source power is endless, so he can use this method. And only Yi Tian is willing to do this. Other supreme true ancestors would not waste time helping a certain true ancestor to continuously temper the body. Wouldn't that mean giving up cultivation? He wouldn't do it if it wasn't for his own children. There is a third way, that is to use the small piece of forbidden mother stone to enhance the strength of Yi Xingchen and Yi Xingyu. Although it will consume a part of the forbidden mother stone, it is enough to increase the strength of the two. As for whether or not he can reach the level of the supreme true ancestor, Yi Tian can't guarantee it, but there is definitely hope. Next, Yi Tian arranged a 100,000 times time formation, and let his wife Xiao Yu preside over the formation at all times. Otherwise, the 100,000 times time formation would not be able to sustain at all. This is the limit time within the rules. At the beginning, Shu Tian Daozu personally urged Yi Tian to accelerate the time by 100,000 times, but it was also consumed very quickly. Therefore, in the ancient world of Xuanshu, the time acceleration of normal use is 10,000 times the time, and the 100,000 times time acceleration not only requires a lot of resources, but also requires people to preside over it all the time, which is not cost-effective. At this special moment, Yi Tian naturally needs to arrange a time formation that is accelerated by 100,000 times. After the big formation was arranged, Yi Tian began to let Yi Xingchen and Yi Xingyu use the forbidden mother stone to cultivate, and he also began to mobilize the power of the source, turning into two threads of silk that penetrated from their heads, constantly tempering their fleshly bodies. This kind of tempering is extremely painful. After all, it does not come from their own strength, but in order to quickly improve their strength, they must endure. Like others, there is no such treatment at all. In this way, time passed slowly, and the strength of Yi Xingchen and Yi Xingyu became stronger and stronger, gradually approaching the pinnacle of the top true ancestor. In the outside world, other forces have also begun to use the last time to cultivate the true ancestors under the age of 10 million. Certainly, in a mere 100 years, it is definitely impossible to improve his strength by normal means. They don't have taboo mother stones, and they don't have many taboo Dao stones, and they won't use a lot of taboo strange objects to improve the strength of these true ancestors, and even if there are, it's too late. Therefore, most of the forces have used the method of squeezing potential to wildly increase the strength of these true ancestors, even depleting their vitality, just to maintain their peak state for hundreds of years. Once hundreds of years have passed, they will die, and they can only be sent to reincarnation at a huge price. And the true ancestor enters the reincarnation, and the true monarch Tianjin enters the reincarnation, the price is different. If they get great credit, there is still hope to enter the reincarnation. If they don't get any credit, then they are really dead. In the blink of an eye, 100 years have passed. This day, throughout the ancient world of Xuanshu, a large number of young true ancestors came to King Kong Real Kingdom one after another. Most of the young true ancestors were very weak, and quite a number of true ancestors were just promoted. Of course, since they are all geniuses, their combat power will not be too weak. It is either between ordinary ancestors and elite ancestors, or directly breaks through to the ranks of elite ancestors, but there are very few powerhouses at the top ancestor level. As for the young ancestors of the powerful ancestors, they have not yet been exposed. And Yi Tian and Xiao Yu also came to King Kong Real Kingdom with a pair of children. Chapter 1138 The True Ancestor of the Strong, Yi Xingchen. Fourth more. Yi Xingchen and Yi Xingyu are also the first time to come to the place where so many true ancestors gather. Although they used to travel around the outside world, the places they go are small places. Even if they go to some big cities, they can only see few strong ones. But now, this temporarily constructed giant city of King Kong True Kingdom has gathered a large number of true ancestors, many of which are the strongest true ancestors and invincible true ancestors, and the terrifying aura is enough to suffocate people. When they were roaming around, they always thought they were strong. After all, there were not many who were stronger than them anywhere, but here, there were too many true ancestors who were stronger than them. The aura of the dense invincible true ancestor and the supreme true ancestor is like a pillar of energy, pouring into the depths of the sky, as if it is shocking other people around. I didn't expect that there are so many powerful and invincible ancestors in the ancient world of Xuanxu. Yi Xingchen muttered. The human race is very powerful now, but the number of the true ancestors is too small. Most of them are the true ancestors of the 9 Extremes Legion, and the others are also cultivated by his father Yi Tian, or the true ancestors who have a good relationship with Yi Tian. But those supreme true ancestors are like a drop in the ocean. At this moment, Yi Xingchen and Yi Xingyu's slightly impetuous hearts calmed down a little, and they also realized that their current strength was not qualified to be arrogant. This temporary giant city is called Wanzhou City. A large number of true ancestors poured into Wanzhou City, but most of them came to watch the fun, not true ancestors under 10 million years old. In fact, there are not many true ancestors under 10 million years old. For example, the human race can only find dozens of 403 at most, and they are basically ordinary true ancestors. They don't dare to participate, otherwise they will die. In half a month, almost all the true ancestors who can come have come, and the other true ancestors who cannot come are also paying attention to this true ancestor battle through various channels. The world where 100,000 true ancestors are selected is in Wanzhou City. The world created by the alliance of major forces. Even if more true ancestors go into fight, it will be difficult to smash this world. It is far more solid. Real country. This day, one after another, the true ancestors who are under 10 million years old have been tested one after another and entered that world. There are so many people, there are more than 3 million true ancestors. Yi Tian was a little surprised. Although he also knows that there are many true ancestors in the ancient Xuanxu world, they are far less rare than before, especially in the last few million years, when countless geniuses have grown up. The number of true ancestors in the entire ancient Xuanxu world has doubled. For example, the number of true ancestors of the human race has now reached nearly 1 million, not to mention the true ancestors of the illusory real country and the temples of the gods, and there are definitely many true ancestors of other forces. How many forces are there in the entire ancient world of Xuanxu? Yi Tian can't even count them. There are not many true ancestors who are under 10 million years old in a single force, but they add up to a lot. After the 3 million true ancestors entered the world, they were scattered one by one. Even if the world was huge, how powerful the true ancestors were, it was difficult to hide them. So, the fight begins. The true ancestors who belong to the same faction unite together to surround and kill other true ancestors, but once a stronger true ancestor is targeted, that faction may be destroyed. At every moment, a large number of true ancestors have fallen, and some weak true ancestors are timid, ignoring the orders of the forces behind them, and directly rushed out of the world, daring not to fight anymore. But if they return to the power, will it end well? Unexpected. A true ancestor exploded with strength comparable to the supreme true ancestor, killing several elite true ancestors in an instant, shocking the audience. Who is that person? He has become the true ancestor of the strongest for thousands of years. It's too defiant. There is an invincible true ancestor exclaimed. Yi Tian looked at the past, duplicating the talent to investigate, and knew the situation of the other party. True ancestor of Xixia sect. Yi Tian muttered. Judging from the introduction of the copying talent, this true ancestor is called Mingyu True Ancestor, and he is considered a top genius in the entire mysterious ancient realm, but 100 years ago, he was just an elite true ancestor. It took 100 years to cross the top true ancestor and directly become the strongest true ancestor. This is definitely not something that can be done by normal means. Moreover, judging from the life breath of the other party, although it is like a bright sun, it is a bit like a sun that is about to end, exuding its final brilliance. Using the method of depleting potential and vitality to forcibly improve strength, you will die soon. Yi Tian shook his head. Obviously, there is really a force to do this. Moreover, it is definitely not only the Xixia sect who does this, there are other forces that must also do this. Yi Tian saw it, and the other true ancestors soon saw it. The invincible true ancestors are not stupid, and they quickly guessed the reason, and some people are even participants in the creation of such true ancestors. Then, a famous ancestor appeared, which shocked the audience. Some corner of the world. Yi Xingchen encountered a true ancestor, and this scene was seen by many people. Because Yi Tian's reputation is too great, Yi Xingchen, the son of Yi Tian, is also well known by some true ancestors. True ancestor of 10,000 laws, your son may be in danger. The Golden Light Sword Master of Tianjianzong said, his eyes were even provocative. Because the true ancestor who encountered Yi Xingchen was a true ancestor of Tianjianzong, Tianjianzong had suffered many losses in the hands of Yi Tian, and had fallen CJFI many of the true ancestors of the strongest and the top true ancestor. Therefore, Golden Light Sword Sovereign was very unhappy with Yi Tian. Of course, he did not dare to provoke Yi Tian, otherwise Yi Tian could easily kill him. But this time, Yi Xingchen encountered the supreme ancestor of the Heavenly Sword sect, so he couldn't blame him. He doesn't think that Yi Xingchen has the most powerful ancestor. He has also heard about Yi Xingchen. In terms of talent and potential, he is already a top ancestor at a young age, and he is a top ancestor who has achieved his own cultivation, rather than the top true ancestors who were brought out. But even so, Yi Xingchen could not become the true ancestor in a short period of time, unless Yi Tian was willing to abolish his son, but it was not necessary at all, and he would not think that Yi Tian was willing to do so. Therefore, Yi Tian is at most the top true ancestor combat power, plus has some chassis, maybe he can compete with the supreme true ancestor for a short time, but he will definitely be killed after a long time. Moreover, the Heavenly Sword sect, the supreme true ancestor, also has a whole card, and even the Heavenly Sword sect handed him a medium taboo strange object that could explode a forbidden blow. It's a little early to say this now, maybe your sect's shining swordsman will be in danger. Yi Tian said calmly. Within the world, Yi Xingchen met Yi Xingchen, saw Yi Xingchen, flashed sword intent moving, and recognized Yi Xingchen. Yi Xingchen, the parent and son of the true ancestor of 10,000 laws, if he kills him, the Heavenly Sword sect will definitely reward me greatly. Flash Sword Sovereign said excitedly. As for whether he would offend Yi Tian, the true ancestor of myriad laws, he didn't care. He knew that he didn't have much time left. Maybe after he came out of the forbidden treasure, he would die at the end of his lifespan. He could only be reincarnated with the help of the Heavenly Sword sect. Everyone died, and he was afraid that Yi Tian would fail. Besides, once he is reincarnated, his identity has changed, and Yi Tian is also difficult to find him. Moreover, he has made great contributions, and Tianjianzong will definitely reward him heavily and vigorously cultivate his reincarnation. He may be able to transcend this life and become a real supreme Taoist ancestor, rather than urging him like this. The Xian true ancestor. However, many true ancestors do not know that once the potential and vitality of the true ancestor is exhausted, the foundation of the true ancestor is completely destroyed, and the general reincarnation method is difficult to erase this influence, the potential of the second life will be very low, and it is difficult to grow up. Yi Tian knew the reason, but he wouldn't say it. After all the major forces did this to squeeze those geniuses. If he said it, would anyone believe it was a problem? The key would be to offend all the forces. Flash Sword Sovereign doesn't know anything, he's still dreaming. Die. Flashing Sword Sovereign shot, a Kendo Dao technique, flashing cross swordsmanship cut out, this is also his famous Dao technique, the power is very powerful. However, at this time, Yi Xingchen's body erupted with a star's ray of light, which turned into a sky defense. It was a defensive Dao technique that was incomparable with his own Star Avenue, the Star Sky Screen technique. This sword technique slashed at the stars and sky, but it didn't break its defense. What? You are also the true ancestor of the strongest. The Flash Swordsman was shocked. Not only the Shining Sword Sovereign was shocked, but the Golden Light Sword Sovereign and many other invincible true ancestors were shocked and looked at Yi Tian one by one. The true ancestor of 10,000 laws, you are so courageous that you even sacrificed your son. Golden Light Sword Sovereign said in surprise. Yi Tian stared at Venerable Golden Light Sword with the look of an idiot and said, Venerable Golden Light Sword, are you an idiot? Do you think I forcibly improved my son's strength? He is relying on his own strength to improve without consuming any potential. If you can even see this, then the so-called invincible true ancestor's strength must be forcibly improved. The other invincible true ancestors took a closer look and found that Yi Xingchen's foundation was very solid, and it was not the supreme true ancestor who was promoted. Moreover, Yi Xingchen's true ancestor's power actually contains the dark taboo power. Immediately, the invincible true ancestors became jealous. Chapter 1139 Yi Xingchen slashes the strongest ancestor. First update. What's the matter? The true ancestor of all methods has mastered the power of the dark taboo, and his children have also mastered the power of the dark taboo. This is too coincidental. Could it be that he has a treasure in his hand that can give birth to the dark taboo force? Golden Light Sword Sovereign looked at Yi Tian and guessed. But even if he guessed, there is no way. He is not Yi Tian's opponent. Even dozens of invincible ancestors can't beat Yi Tian. Supreme True Ancestor's combat ability is not only terrifying, but also enduring. He has an endless source of power, and he can break out into battles and perform forbidden techniques again and again, without exhaustion at all. But these invincible true ancestors can't do such a method. Once they fight with Yi Tian, they will be killed by Yi Tian. Therefore, no invincible true ancestor dared to fight Yi Tian's idea. At this time, Yi Xingqian and Shining Sword Sovereign were constantly fighting. Although both of them are the true ancestors of the strongest, Yi Xingqian has a forbidden body, and the foundation is much stronger than that of the Shining Swordsman. The supreme true ancestors like the Shining Swordsman are completely parallel imports, and there are several explosions of the supreme true ancestors. The attack languished. Moreover, the defense of Shining Sword Sovereign does not reach the average level of the true ancestor, only the attack power has reached the level of the true ancestor. Strictly speaking, such a true ancestor is undoubtedly the weakest ancestor. Therefore, Shining Sword Sovereign was completely suppressed by Yi Xingqian. Under normal circumstances, it would take a long time for the two supreme true ancestors to fight, but Yi Xingqian's forbidden power hurt the Shining Swordsman again and again, and the Shining Swordsman's recovery rate was too slow, and the injury became more and more serious. And because the Flash Sword Sovereign is the strongest ancestor who was raised by the seedlings, there are too few means, so there is no way to get rid of Yi Xingqian's attack, and he is injured again and again. As the injury aggravated, the sequelae caused by the forcible promotion of Shining Sword Sovereign began to erupt, the vitality of life began to drop, and the whole person quickly declined. For the true ancestor, this should not have happened, but it happened to Shining Swordsman. Golden Light Sword Sovereign saw this scene and was extremely angry. Heavenly Sword Sect has also cultivated such a strong ancestor. It is not that he does not want to cultivate more, but that there are too few people who are willing, and the price to pay is not small. If the price is not small, then a force can cultivate a bunch of them. True Ancestor Xian. Even the true ancestor of the strong, who cannot live long, can explode with terrifying strength in the middle of a war, enough to reverse the balance of power between the two forces. But in fact, no matter how much the Heavenly Sword Sect cultivates, it will only cultivate a few at most, and the price is too high, so it is not worth it. Moreover, they have always believed that it is enough to cultivate a Xian true ancestor. Unexpectedly, this has not yet entered the Forbidden Treasure Land, and it will be damaged in the selection. Golden Light Sword Sovereign now only expects the selection of the 100,000 true ancestors to end. In that case, Yi Xingqian will not be able to kill Shining Sword Sovereign. But he just glanced at it. There are still 1 million true ancestors left in the world. I am afraid it will take a long time to end. Time passed, and Sword Master Shining was a little desperate. His injury was too serious, and he couldn't hold on anymore. But he still has one chance, but it is also the last chance. The Heavenly Sword Sect gave me a medium taboo strange object, which can explode a forbidden strike. If it is used well, it may be able to directly inflict heavy damage but kill Yi Xingqian. Shining Sword Master thought to himself. Soon, a great opportunity will come. Taking advantage of the moment when he was pierced by Yi Xingqian's spear, he motivated that forbidden strange object. I saw a leaf-shaped forbidden strange thing flying out from the hand of the flashing swordsman, turning into a ray of light and instantly passing through Yi Xingqian. The speed of this blow was too fast, and it locked Yi Xingqian. It was almost difficult for the true ancestor to dodge this blow. However, a forbidden strange thing on Yi Xingqian's body automatically made a forbidden armor, which instantly protected him. Although the forbidden strike from the Shining Sword Master still penetrated through the forbidden armor on Yi Xingqian's body, there was not much power left. The body easily blocked. Seeing this scene, Shining Sword Sovereign was completely desperate. That's right, he is the parent and son of the true ancestor of myriad laws. How can there be no defensive taboos? Flash Sword Sovereign laughed at himself. Unexpected. His body was directly smashed to pieces by Yi Xingqian's Star Taoist technique, and the taboo spears were nailed to his remnant body, completely shattering his last shreds of vitality. So far, Shining Sword Sovereign has completely fallen. He is also the only Xian true ancestor who has fallen this time. On the other side, Yi Xingyu also burst out with the strength of the supreme true ancestor, killing the quartet, and no one dared to provoke her. After a while, Yi Xingchen and Yi Xingyu gathered together, and they joined hands to sweep almost everything. I don't know how long passed, the voice of Hebo Junzu came. 100,000 true ancestors have been decided, all true ancestors stop. The true ancestor of Hebo said. Whoa whoa, a famous true ancestor flew out of the world, some were seriously injured, some were relaxed and comfortable, and some were full of fighting spirit and covered in blood. Yi Xingchen and Yi Xingyu flew to Yi Tian's side and said, Father. 1. Yes, I was not disappointed. Yi Tian nodded with satisfaction. The 100,000 true ancestors have been selected, but some true ancestors are seriously injured, so they need time to heal, but it is impossible to give too much time. After all, there are quite a few true ancestors who were provoked by forbidden techniques, and their lifespans are short. Once the time drags on, their combat effectiveness will become a problem. Therefore, after a year, everyone must enter the forbidden treasure house. Not long after a year, the true ancestors did not leave Wanzhou City, and just waited silently here. In the blink of an eye, a year has passed. This day, 100,000 true ancestors went to Forbidden Treasure Land, and the levels were opened one by one, and the blockade was lifted. This Forbidden Treasure Land is a forest, covering a continent of King Kong Real Kingdom. The entire forest is filled with the breath of forbidden power. Those trees are not ordinary trees, and they have become very precious under the influence of forbidden power. A small number of trees can be used to forge weapons, and they contain a trace of forbidden attributes. For flowers, boom, 100,000 true ancestors burst into force, tearing apart the barrier of this forbidden forest and entering the forbidden forest. Soon, they encountered the first batch of forbidden bloodline creatures. The fight has begun. Since there are many true ancestors who entered this time, they directly crushed those forbidden bloodline creatures, and the forbidden bloodline creatures were killed. Yi Xingchen was also fighting against the forbidden bloodline creature for the first time, but he also knew that this kind of forbidden bloodline creature was of high value, so he tried his best to kill all the forbidden bloodline creatures and then brought them into the inner world. Certainly, he also didn't forget the purpose of his trip, the natal talent tree. Whoa whoa, a Ming Junzu quickly flew towards the natal talent tree. This natal talent tree is very large, far exceeding other giant trees, and the pervasive taboo aura surrounds the entire Forbidden Treasure Land, so it is easy to identify. 0. In a short time, many true ancestors approached the natural talent tree. I saw that there were forbidden bloodline creatures crawling near the natural talent tree. Among them, 3 forbidden bloodline creatures were the most powerful, and their aura was very close to the invincible true ancestor. They are the most powerful true ancestors. In one-on-one terms, none of the true ancestors present are their opponents, and the only advantage is that there are many people. 3,000 forbidden bloodline creatures, 3 top Xeon ancestor level forbidden bloodline creatures. Yi Xingchen frowned. It's not a good fight. Although there are many of them, there are 100,000 true ancestors, but the quality level is not too high, and the forbidden bloodline creatures have long-lasting combat power and are difficult to kill, and most of them are equivalent to the elite level ultimate ancestors, and there are many comparable top primogenitor. Of course, they didn't have to kill all these forbidden bloodline creatures, as long as they snatch away the natural talents. Let's go, a supreme true ancestor said. There is no time for them to waste, and if they wait slowly, there is no result. They can only rush up, fight against these forbidden bloodline creatures, break through the blockade, and come to the natural talent tree to pick the natural talent fruit. Boom! The 100,000 true ancestors took action and fought against 3,000 bloodline creatures. And the 3 most powerful forbidden bloodline creatures also shot, and immediately killed a group of true ancestors. Forbidden bloodline creatures can basically use the bloodline power that contains a trace of dark forbidden power. Although it cannot be compared with the real dark forbidden power, it is also very terrifying. In a short time, less than 100 forbidden bloodline creatures fell, but the true ancestors fell no less than 3,000. At this rate, the true ancestors will suffer heavy losses. At this time, one of the Xeon true ancestors went crazy, trying to break through the blockade and snatch the natural talent. Chapter 1140 Snatch the natural talent fruit. 2nd. Boom! One of the 3 strongest forbidden bloodline creatures instantly shot the Xeon true ancestor out, showing his invincibility. With these 3 strongest forbidden bloodline creatures, the Xeon ancestors could not break through the blockade. They could only kill other forbidden bloodline creatures first. When the forbidden bloodline creatures were almost killed, they would all take action against these 3 the strongest forbidden bloodline creature. Just like that, time passed slowly. Some true ancestors were timid, or severely injured, and could no longer participate in the battle, so they withdrew from the battlefield, and some of them hid in the distance to watch the battle, and this type of true ancestor was directly killed by the supreme true ancestors. If you want not to fight, then leave. Like the true ancestor who was watching the battle, the other true ancestors will not let go, otherwise, if everyone is watching the battle, who will fight? In the end, only a very small number of true ancestors left here and went to other places to look for forbidden and strange objects. Most of the true ancestors still fought here. Once they have obtained a natural talent fruit, they can surpass many top geniuses and become the master, 403, in the entire ancient world of Xuanxu. The dream was just before, how could they easily give up? A famous true ancestor tried to break through the blockade, but one by one failed and fell, but the successors still came in an endless stream, and they all wanted to be the lucky one. In this atmosphere, many true ancestors did not know what death was at all, and were completely dominated by desire. In a short time, the 100,000 true ancestors fell and only 3 true ancestors remained. And there are less than 30 taboo bloodline creatures left, including the 3 strongest forbidden bloodline creatures. There are only 30 bloodline creatures left, kill and victory is in sight. A Xeon primogenitor shouted. Everyone was shocked, and one by one, the strongest combat power broke out, and they frantically attacked these bloodline creatures. As there are fewer and fewer forbidden bloodline creatures, everyone's mood is getting better and better. However, at this time, many true ancestors seemed to have a heart-to-heart, and they all abandoned those forbidden bloodline creatures to snatch the natural talent. After all, there are so few forbidden bloodline creatures today, and it is difficult to stop them. And there are about 30,000 true ancestors left, but there are only 1,024 natal fruits, so it is impossible for one person to have one, so it is right to start first. Damn, you are so shameless. The true ancestors who were resisting the forbidden bloodline creatures said angrily. Soon, the first destiny innate fruit was captured by a supreme true ancestor, and the battle to snatch the destiny innate fruit began. Yi Xingchen and Yi Xingyu are not stupid, they are also the second of the first batch of true ancestors to snatch the natural talent. The strength of the two is very strong, so they each quickly grabbed a natural fruit. Of course, their goal is not just one natal natural fruit, but more natal natural fruit. Many true ancestors were not united, so the 3 strongest forbidden bloodline creatures began to slaughter wildly, killing a famous true ancestor, but those top true ancestors and the strongest true ancestors did not care, among which the top true ancestors took one. After 2 natal natural talents, they fled wildly, not ready to capture more natal natural talents, for fear of falling here. All in all, it's a mess here. Before he knew it, all the 1024 innate talent fruits were gone, and they were all robbed by the true ancestors. But the 3 strongest forbidden bloodline creatures also killed a lot of true ancestors, and now there are only less than 20,000 true ancestors left, and these less than 20,000 true ancestors began to kill each other again, just to snatch their lives' talent fruit. Among them, some elite true ancestors and weaker top true ancestors who have obtained the natural innate fruit have become the targets of many true ancestors. They besieged these true ancestors, killed them, and robbed the true ancestors of the destiny innate fruit. And become the target of snatch by others. In this way, a famous ancestor fell one after another, and the loss was faster than the loss of the siege of the forbidden bloodline creatures. Many true ancestors who have obtained the natural talent fruit tried to leave the forbidden forest at the fastest speed, and did not want to collect forbidden treasures at all. For them, no amount of forbidden treasures can compare with the natural talents. Yi Xingchen and Yi Xingyu are relatively safe, and no one dares to snatch their natural talent. After all, these are 2 powerful ancestors, and they can be called the 2 strongest ancestors here. Who dares to besiege them? Sister, how many natal gifts did you get? Yi Xingchen asked. 5, how about you, brother? Yi Xingyu asked. Me, 6, Yi Xingchen laughed and said, I will use 1, and I will give each of my parents 1, and I can keep 3, and I will leave these 3 to my children in the future. In fact, the 2 of them can also obtain more natural talents, such as robbing other people's natural talents, which can be easily achieved with their strength. But they also don't want to kill others too much, and if they get too many innate fruits, the higher the possibility of becoming a target. They're not stupid, they don't really think they're safe outside the forbidden forest. Maybe when they go out, there will be battles in the outside world. I don't know how many true ancestors will take action to snatch the natural talent, and many of them are invincible true ancestors. Yi Xingchen and Yi Xingyu did not continue to snatch the natural fruit, but went to find the forbidden treasure. I have to say that there are quite a lot of forbidden strange objects in this forbidden forest. Since there are not many people looking for forbidden strange objects, they quickly found a lot of forbidden strange objects. At this time, there was a true ancestor who left the forbidden forest with the fruit of his destiny. Ha ha ha, he is the true ancestor of my heavenly sword sect. 1 inch. The Dao Zun of Tiandaomen laughed loudly. The top true ancestor who came out of the forbidden forest quickly flew to the true ancestors of Tiandaomen. However, an invincible true ancestor brazenly shot. It is the Golden Light Sword Sovereign of Tianjianzong. Golden Light Sword Sovereign actually also has Dao level natural talent, but who dislikes his own Dao level natural talent? Although he can only eat one natal natural fruit, the Dao level natal talent he obtained before was not obtained by swallowing the natal natural fruit, but the Dao level natal natural talent obtained by entering the talent pool, so he can also use the natal natural talent. Guo obtained the Dao level natural talent. Once there is an additional Dao level natural talent, if it is a Dao level natural talent that suits him, his strength may increase a little bit again, and he may be able to reach the ultimate level of the invincible true ancestor. At that time, he can become the strongest existence under the supreme true ancestor. As long as the supreme true ancestor does not take action, at the level of the invincible true ancestor, he is invincible. However, after the Jingguang Sword Sovereign shot, another invincible true ancestor shot, the invincible true ancestor of King Kong City. You are courting death, the Wind Sword Master said angrily. It's a pity that Gale Wind Sword Sovereign's response was a little slower. The top true ancestor of Tiandaomen was instantly killed by Jingguang Sword Sovereign and unbreakable true ancestor, but the top true ancestor's body fell into the Golden Light Sword Sovereign. Hand. Kill the true ancestor of Tianjianzong for me. The true ancestor of the wind ordered. Immediately, Tiandaomen and Tianjianzong started a war. As a famous true ancestor came out of the forbidden forest, he became the target of other true ancestors one after another, and then caused a war of powers. Those true ancestors who have obtained the natural innate fruit thought that they would be able to rise up completely, but they had no chance to survive at all, and they would die as soon as they went out. If you don't go out, you will be besieged by other true ancestors in the forbidden forest. In addition, the forbidden forest 5.8 blocked their perception, so they couldn't know the outside world, so they rushed out one by one and became the target of others. Certainly, there are also lucky people who were successfully protected by their own sect, but such lucky people are too few. Boom, the kingdom of King Kong was torn apart, and there were too many true ancestors in this battle. Although there is no Taoist ancestor, but so many true ancestors are fighting, King Kong Zhengguo can't bear it. But, the difference between the kingdom of King Kong and other real kingdoms is that most of the geniuses of the kingdom of King Kong live in giant cities. These giant cities are basically made of Tao artifacts, which can accommodate billions of creatures and are extremely strong. Even if the real kingdom of King Kong is broken, it cannot shake these giant cities. Therefore, even if the real kingdom of King Kong is really broken, the loss of King Kong City is not too great, but there are many ordinary creatures missing. Yi Tian and Xiao Yu did not participate in the battle, but were watching the battle. They are waiting for Yi Xingchen and Yi Xingyu to come out, lest Yi Xingchen and Yi Xingyu will be attacked by others as soon as they come out.